Well, welcome to Verbier here in Switzerland for the finale of the Freeride World Tour 2016. It promises to be a breathtaking spectacle today. History has proved that this face behind me is one of the most dramatic spectacles in sport. Now we can take a quick look at the Bec de Ros. We'll give you an introduction to this most famous of mountains. Tucked away in the southwest corner of Switzerland is Verbier. Sits in an idyllic south-facing bowl, and the mountains above it are some of the most challenging you'll find anywhere in the Alps. And the most revered of those is the Bec de Ros. This week, freeriders and fans from across Europe make the pilgrimage here to watch their heroes battle it out for the biggest title in freeriding and create an atmosphere unlike any other event held in the High Alps. Okay, you can see there the peak of the Bec de Ros, the first of the riders making their way up there. Let's take a look at the history of this mountain here in Verbier. Since 1996, the Verbier Xtreme has been held on the imposing Bec de Ros mountain. It represents the pinnacle of competitive freeriding. This face is to big mountain riding what Pipeline is to surfing, what Wimbledon is to tennis, what Monaco is to Formula One. This is the event that everyone wants to win. If you can overcome your fear and tame this incredibly steep and exposed mountain, you will achieve legendary status. Okay, well, that's where we are. Let's take a look at how we got here. The Swatch Freeride World Tour is made up of 5 stops, with each one offering different terrain and different test conditions to test competitors. The first stop of the year in Val Nord-Arcalis, Andorra, had a late start to the season and challenged the athletes to read snow conditions and deliver technical lines on a face littered with rocks. The second stop in the world's capital of steep skiing, Chamonix, was blessed with perfect conditions, which allowed the world's best to unleash their aerial arsenals on some of the biggest drops we've seen so far this year. At the third stop in Fieberbrunn, we saw the first cut in the field, and the Wildseeloader face demanded creativity from the skiers and snowboarders who wanted to travel to Alaska for the fourth stop. Haynes once again delivered the epic conditions it's famous for, and the venue face is so steep and open it allows the riders real freedom to express themselves with power and speed to burn. Now we arrive here, the spiritual home of the Freeride World Tour, Verbier, for the final event of 2016. Now, the programme for today has been slightly moved around. We're going to kick things off with the women's snowboarding, where we've got 2 riders still in the hunt for the world title, the Swiss Anne-Fleur Marxer and Estelle Ballet. Then we've got the women's skiing, and we'll finish things off today with the men's skiing. Because we've got an incredibly short window of sun, the men's snowboarding, where the overall title has already been decided, will run in parallel to the women's skiing, and you will be able to watch that later on. But right now, it's the 3 overall titles that are at stake, which will be decided live on air. Now, we've got a full team of judges waiting to take the field apart, but probably the best thing to take a look at right now is the face description. The most unique thing about the Bec de Ros is the incredible gradient these riders face. So 3,200 metres at the start, that's nearly 10,000 feet. The women start down there at 3,000 metres, so just under 10,000 feet. Finish area at 2.6, a drop of 400 vertical metres. Really technical up at the top. There's some playful features for the women to use down at the bottom. So we're going to hand over now to Dave Mailman and Martin Winkler, who are commentating for the women's snowboarding.
Thank you very much, Ed. It's a pleasure to be here. And as Ed said, not the best conditions that we've ever seen here in Verbier. Martin?
Not at all. Hello from my side as well. And you said it, The weather is not cooperative today, but the snow is good at least, so we'll see what the weather holds up for us today.
And once again, as Ed said, we are getting things underway with the women's snowboarding for ladies still in the running for the title. And well, actually, four of them on course today, two of them in the running for the title, Anne-Fleur Marxer and Estelle Ballet. Here's our start list. Two-time Verbier Extreme champion Elodie Mouton will be the first lady in, followed by our reigning world champ Estelle Ballet. French newcomer Marion Herty will be third, and our 2011 Extreme champion, as well as Swatch Freeride World Tour champion Anne-Fleur Marxer, will be and current ratings leader will be the last lady down the mountain. So once again, a lot riding on these runs today. Two of the four can take the title here today. And we're going to have a quick look at what's happened so far this year in the women's snowboard category. Well, Anne-Fleur Marxer, once again, our 2011 world champ, is currently leading the rankings, Martin.
She is, and she has everything that takes to take away the title, but on her
hot on her heels, that's exactly it, is our reigning world champ, Estelle Ballet. There's our overall rankings, and Marion Herty and Elodie Mouton. Well, Marion Herty, she'd love to win this thing. She's never won. A big rookie win would be quite an exciting result here today. And Elodie Mouton, of course, would be her third win here on the Bec des Roses. And as it stands currently, she actually is the winningest of the four ladies in competition here today. So tons of talent on the mountain. Here is our Freeride World Tour overall ranking currently in the women's snowboarding. Once again, the Swiss-French dual national Anne-Fleur Marxer is in the top spot, followed very closely, 300 points behind, is Estelle Ballet with Marion Herty and Elodie Mouton bringing up the rear. The two French ladies cannot win the title today, but they can play spoilers. There are many things that could happen. We're not going to go into the scenarios just yet. We'll see how things unfold as the ladies make their way down the mountain.
Absolutely, and you might be surprised that we only have four ladies here in the running of the title, or of the title of the Verbier Extreme. The other riders kind of had to go through the cut after the third stop in Fieberbrunn. We were cutting the field to 5, and one more slot was cut after the Haynes event, so we are ready here for 4 riders to come, the 2 Swiss and the 2 French, compete for the Verbier Extreme title.
That's right, the crème de la crème of the Swatch Freeride World Tour. Women's snowboarders have qualified for the event here today. And basically, just to break it down, if Estelle wins, she's the world champ. If Anne-Fleur wins, she's the world champ. If either of the other two win, then we have to go and start counting back on points. So a little pressure on everybody's shoulders today. And one thing, though, I can guarantee you is there's tons of talent up there. Very possibly the most stacked women's field that we've seen here in Verbier, at least in the last 5 years. I don't know, going back in the 21 years of the history of the event, but plenty of talent up on the top of the Petit Bec, as we call it, or the ladies' Bec, because it is a separate start from the actual top of the Bec des Roses, which doesn't mean it's any less difficult, Martin.
Not at all. I've been riding that phase yesterday for the GoPro first look, and it really is challenging, exposed, steep, and everything that the Bec des Roses holds on for the riders. It's really breathtaking what the riders are going through there. We have only one rookie here, as you just said. Estelle Ballet proved her talent over the last 3 years. She came on tour through the qualifiers, and didn't she came second in her first year competing? I think
that's exactly it. Second in the world in 2014, and then took the world title in 2015. So our first lady down. Elodie
And
Mouton.
maybe one word to the weather again. As you can see, we don't have the usual start gates. We don't have the start gates because they were not able to fly them up. They're kind of big panels that have to be airlifted up to the ridges. And of course, with the winds from 40 to 60 kilometers per hour, there was no chance to do that. And unfortunately, the wind keeps on blowing. You see the Swatch flags flapping hard, and it's not gonna kind of step down pretty soon. So it's going to be really challenging for the riders, and we probably will have some holds of the competition.
Well, that's exactly it. We are currently on hold,
Yep.
Martin. We've just gotten the word from up on the mountain due to poor visibility. We are currently on hold. So just when we thought we were getting things ready to get underway, we have to go on hold. There's going to be a lot of that probably today. A lot of hurry up and wait, as we say. We're going to take a quick break for a word from some of our sponsors. We'll be back hopefully with the start of the women's snowboard competition here at the Swatch Freeride World Tour Xtreme Verbier right after this.
3, 2, 1, go. Tell me what you waiting for. Black, white, silver, go. Come on, come on, come on. I want more. I need more. So give me more. Come on, come on, come on, more. Come on, come on. I want more. I need more. So give me more.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the 21st edition of the Swatch Freeride World Tour Xtreme Verbier. And we are here, as you can see, waiting for the women's snowboard competition to get underway on the top of the Petit Bec des Rosses, which is just on the right-hand side of the screen. You can see our 4 women snowboarders waiting patiently for the visibility to improve in the start gate.
You can see perfectly here the 2 start gates that the women have the choice to select for their lines to reach the whole segment of this Petit Bec. And number 1 is that we see just in front, like in the bottom right corner. And what just disappeared around the rock is start gate number 2, kind of in this col, in this couloir, top of the couloir, heading into the lookers left of the run.
Okay, well, we are going to take a look at the Petit Bec from the rider's point of view. Matter of fact, from your point of view, Martin, with the GoPro first look right now.
The highlight of the season, the finals of the Freeride World Tour. We are here at the almighty Bec des Rosses. I'm at the lower shoulder, the women's start. The autonomous drone, Hexoplus, the little helper, will follow me down and will give you a special perspective of the venue. Let's see what the riders can expect for their contest. On the skier's left side of that face, you can see some entries. It's dropping pretty steep, rolling over, not easy to navigate. But at least we have some rocks and landmarks all the way down. What the riders have to really watch out are sharks and rocks, as the Bec is a very rocky place. You can see it's getting really steep and exposed. But
the snow is getting even better. That's a pretty obvious line you see, pretty steep, but great snow in here. Here you can see slough is a huge issue. You really have to control your slough well. So here's gonna be a nice little exit over there. Woohoo! Oh yeah. And the snow is really good in here. Great for shutting down speed. And as you can see, the further down you get, the more wet the snow is. You can see those cookies there. Woo. Here we have the rocky garden. As soon as you get into, you have quite a lot of landmarks. It's sloughing a lot, but snow is great. I'm pretty sure the rider's gonna have a ton of fun up there and they're gonna kill it. Have fun, guys and girls. See you later.
And now to find out exactly what's happening at the top of the Petit Bec, we're going to throw it up to Davide. Davide, how are conditions looking up at the top of the Petit Bec with the ladies snowboarders?
Conditions are a bit complicated up here. It is quite difficult to see. The light is a bit flat, but we're going to have a little chat with Evelina Nielsen right next to me. Evelina, you finished 4th place here 2 years ago. Is there increased pressure now that you're back here on the Bec?
I just feel like I want to ski like flowy with my highest potential. So no pressure, just having fun.
Well, I hope those conditions get a little bit better, a little bit more visibility for you, and I wish you the best of luck today.
Thank you.
All right, back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Davide. Best of luck to Evelina Nielsen and to all the women's skiers and snowboarders waiting patiently on the top of the Petit Bec currently. Now we're going to hand it over to Ed Lee, who is at the desk with the Freeride World Tour competitor in the women's ski category, Austria's Lorraine Huber.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, I'm here with Lorraine. You had a little bit of bad luck back in Fieberbrunn. How's it fixed up now?
So I actually crashed in Andorra at the first contest. That's where I broke my leg. And then I was able to start skiing again 4.5 weeks later after an operation. And in Fieberbrunn, I came 4th. So I actually did pretty well.
Right, okay, I'd got that completely mixed up. I thought that you crashed in Fieberbrunn.
No, it was at the very start of my season, which was obviously a bummer, especially because I was feeling really strong and fit and motivated to ride the tour all year. But, you know, things like that happen.
4.5 weeks is a phenomenally quick time to recover from a broken bone, though.
Yeah, it really is, actually. The team I was working with was super happy with the result. So I had a really good team around me with physios, and I did also acupuncture and Chinese medicine and stuff like that. I also adjusted my diet, did a lot of rehab, and yeah, I'm actually good at rehab, I've decided.
You kind of have to be a big mountain skiing, yeah.
Rehab.
There you go. This year's world champion of rehab, Lorraine Huber.
Claiming it.
We're also here, we've got Lotten Rapp. I've got a collection of some of the women here. Lotten, how are you doing this year?
I'm very, very good. I was just in US and Canada, and now I came home to see all the athletes going here in Verbier.
How hard is it? You competed last year. How hard is it missing out this year?
Yeah, it's really sad to be standing here and watch the other ones go competing, because it's so much fun. You just want to do it, and the other girls here we are like, oh, we really want to do it, but yeah, we cannot.
Well, I think there's a little bit of melancholy there though as well, because the weather, it's probably not perfect conditions right now.
But you know, we should handle whatever. So if the organizers say it's possible to ride today, then as an athlete you say like, okay, it's possible, we will do it. We are professional and we go for it. If the organizer says so, we trust them and we do it.
Well, I'm just hearing now that I think we've got a call that the contest might be running, so I'm going to hand it back over to Dave and Martin.
Thank you very much, Ed. and lovely hearing from the lovely ladies, Lorraine Huber and Lotten Rapp. Ladies, we wish you were up on the top of the Petit Bec with us here as well. We are currently waiting on an official word from the head judge and Nicholas Hellwoods, who is the head of the Swatch Freeride World Tour. We may be getting things back underway in about 60 seconds or so. We're going to cross our fingers, and while we're waiting, Martin, why don't you explain the difference between the Bec des Roses and the Petit Bec, where the women's start from?
Yeah, it's on the lower shoulder, as we can see here. We would have, as we just mentioned before, the 2 start options, start number 1 and 2. And we have actually Elodie Mouton waiting in the start gate number 2 for us. And to be honest, it's really tough for the girls and for the guys as well, of course, with this situation of the competition being on hold because of visibility. You don't know what to expect. You have scoped your line for a full day yesterday in better light conditions. You don't prepare yourself to have that flat light, because even small landmarks make the difference to choose your line perfectly. And if you don't have that because of light conditions, that's really a big mental stress for the riders up there.
Most definitely. And some of you at home may be wondering, why exactly are we trying to run today with the weather conditions the way they are? Well, it's because for the next 7 to 8 days of the waiting period, which actually takes us to the end of the waiting period, the weather conditions are much, much worse. They're expecting a new front to come in. There could be snow. And this is basically the best chance we have to get off the grand finale of the 2016 Swatch Freeride World Tour here at the Xtreme Verbier in the entire waiting period. So we're going to be patient. As we heard Lotten and Lorraine saying, well, especially Lotten, they do trust the organizers, but I guarantee you that the riders do have a say in whether we ride or not. You, being a former head judge, you can confirm that. What exactly do you think Bertie Denervaux and Nicholas Hellwoods are discussing right now?
Oh, like this is it's a tough job. I don't want to be in the skin of those guys. They really do the best to make our sport, bring it out to the world. And of course, this is not by far ideal conditions, and they wish to have it differently. But that's how, as you just mentioned before, very important that it's not trying to push the event through for the sake of being on the first weekend, but it's really because the weather gets worse. And the riders really understand that, and there's a lot of discussion between riders and organization about this fact. And the organization at the moment really is on their toes, biting their nails that actually can happen in safe conditions. And as you just said, but the riders actually have the last word. Personally, definitely, because no one is forced to ride. They can say, no, it's not my day, I don't feel it, I'm staying up there, I'm gonna cruise down. And that's definitely there's some discussions going on. There we have very experienced riders that have been going through this situation before.
Exactly. As we can see on screen, some of the men's competitors, men's snowboarders. Actually, we saw Xavier Delerue, 3-time Freeride World Tour champion, in the mix. Everybody having a little bit of a chat, and also members of the Pro Freeriders Board who represent the riders' interests on tour as well. So it really is a three-way decision between the contest organizer, the head judge, and the representatives of the Pro Freeriders Board as to whether we run or not. And for more on the situation, we have Ed Lee with one of our head judges, as well as a member of the Freeride World Tour organization, Bertie Denervaux. Take it away, Ed.
Thank you, Dave. Well, I can't have Bertie Denervaux stood here without giving him his proper title. 8-time former world snowboard champ and director of sport, as well as head judge. Bertie, you know better than anyone what's going on at the moment. Tell us what the processes and protocols are under these kind of conditions.
Well, right now we're really waiting for better light. As long as the riders don't see the contrast on the snow, it would be unfair to send them and dangerous to send them. So it's our call here in the judges' tent and the riders' call at the start to decide whether they see enough to compete, so we're really on hold for that because we don't want to take the risk to send them in flat light.
I know it's difficult to speculate, but what are your options to run this tomorrow or Monday, or are you forced now to try and make the best of today?
Right now we have given the go today. Obviously the weather is not as good as it was expected, but we are going to try today. But we have a 9-day weather window, so if we can't pull it off today, we'll try it again. Okay, well, you heard it here first from the horse's mouth. We are going to stick with today. Hopefully this clouds clear up a little bit. So we're going to take a quick break. Stick with us.
love a good road trip.
Welcome back to Verbier for the finale of the Freeride World Tour. The Bec de Ros is the venue face just behind me, and as you can see there's quite a bit of wind and a high milky layer of white cloud. That lack of definition has got the contest on hold for the moment, but we are getting through quite a lot of interesting dialogue in the build up to this comp, and as soon as it starts to run we'll be following that action. We've got Dave Mailman and Martin Winkler in the commentary booth. How's it going over there, gentlemen?
Well, a bit chilly actually with the wind, but I think we're better than you are, Ed, because at least we're inside a tent a little bit protected. Once again, we are on hold due to weather, due to the flat light conditions. And once we do get underway though, we are going to have one heck of a competition on our hands. And of course, for those of you who don't know anything about freeride competition, it's not a timed event. We're not timing the ladies from the top to the bottom of the Petit Bec. We are judging them. And I'm lucky enough to have with me a former head judge of the Freeride World Tour, Martin Winkler, who's going to talk us through that judging criteria.
Yeah, we have a panel, a very experienced panel of ex-riders and very experienced guys up there who are judging on these categories. Line choice, very important. Where on the mountain does the rider choose to ride? Is it the difficult terrain and so on? Fluidity is a big point as well. How fast is the rider going down the mountain? But doesn't mean he's racing against the clock. It's how fast according to where on the mountain he is relatively to the terrain he's riding. Control, of course, is a big issue. Are you always under control or brink of losing it? Of course, crashes come into play there, but it's not all about black and white with crashes. It depends on also how hard you or slightly you crash. Air and style, everything that happens in the air just before and after. How big is a jump? How difficult? What position the rider had before and in the air. And technique is the last category. It's a little bit combined with control. It's about arcing turns, being committed to your run, and that's kind of comes down to the overall impression.
Well, as you can see here on screen, the weather is still playing a few tricks with us, and Davide is back on top. Actually, he hasn't gone anywhere. He's on the top of the Petit Bec with one of the ladies. How's it going up there, Davide?
It's going. I'm still here. I'm here with Anne Floor Markster, and we are playing the waiting game. And Flora, tell us a little bit about the pressure and the frustration that's involved with sitting up here in these complicated conditions.
So the problem today is the visibility is pretty poor. It's really hard to tell the difference of the snow right in front of you or the snow that's very at the bottom of the valley. So to know the size of a jump, it's always kind of difficult to measure when you're going to be landing. The other thing that's a big problem is the quality of the snow. It was really good. It looked really good yesterday, but it looked like it's been too hot and it's been cold, and now it's really not that great. The frustration for us is that we all have been spending so much time and effort, and we tried so hard during the whole season to get a good result from the whole year. So today, for some of us, the world title is in the game, and to know that that world title is going to be in the game on a day like today, it's quite frustrating when when you've been able to get really good runs when you actually had proper conditions. And I think we're all here to give a good show and ride the best we can. And for sure, in those conditions, it's going to be hard to get together. But at the end of the day, it is a competition. We have to work with it. So hopefully, we get a bit of visibility, and at least that would be a little better.
I hope we get some visibility too. Now tell me a little bit about the pressure, though. Do you feel a little bit more pressure because you don't know if you're going to go, you might not go? How does that feel?
Yeah, it's quite difficult to handle. I'm really bad with pressure, but I found a really good way to deal with it. I'm just yelling at you, and that just makes me feel better.
All right, well, you can yell at me all day up here. I'm here to take it. All right, well, back to you guys. Thank you, Anne Fleur.
Awesome. I love Anne Fleur's attitude. She feels no pressure, actually. She just flows with it.
She does feel it. She just makes it look like she's flowing so much.
Yeah,
it really is. It's amazing how much tension. And this is not something only one or two riders have. Like you cannot imagine how much tension there is in the rider, and it's just about their I don't want to say acting, but their personality, how much they show it.
Or not, exactly. Yeah. Well, she's a true professional, and she does not let it show, that pressure whatsoever. And while we're waiting, we're going to take a quick look at some of the highlights from stop number 4 on the Swatch Freeride World Tour that just went down last week in another of the world's freeriding meccas, Haines, Alaska.
I think it's every skier's dream to come to Alaska one day in his life.
Alaska is the place to be.
was one heck of a competition in Haines, Alaska, the second edition of the Swatch Freeride World Tour in Alaska, which is really turning into a classic event 2 years in a row. First year had to do a lot of waiting, but finally scored some epic conditions. This year the conditions turned on quite early in the waiting period.
Yeah, it was on the 5th day of this 10-day window that we have, and really played out pretty well for the Alaskan waiting standards, because this is not an unknown factor. Really, it is for every film crew or even heli skier that wants to go there. You definitely can have the time of your life, but you have to wait for it.
There you go. You basically get up every morning at 6 and head out to the helipad and wait to see if the weather clears or not.
Yeah, because it's a ride on the coast. You can see, probably you saw the footage with the fjords coming in to those valleys, and so you're very close to the ocean, and of course weather patterns, they move in fast and can, yeah, change it up a lot. So, but also on the other hand, it can open up pretty quickly, and it really is a hurry up and wait game.
There we go. Well, speaking of waiting, we are still waiting far from the ocean here on the Petit Bec, and when we do get things underway, once again, it will be with the women's snowboard competition. There's the start list. Elodie Mouton first in, followed by our reigning world champ Estelle Ballet, our tour rookie Marion Herty, and our 2011 world champ Anne-Fleur Marxer, as well as 2011 Verbier Xtreme champion. So 3 of the past 5 Extremes have been won by 2 of those ladies on the list. Elodie Mouton, 2-time winner, and Anne-Fleur Marxer taking the title in 2011. And while we are still waiting, we're going to have a quick look at a little clip of our reigning women's world champion and current world number 2, Estelle Ballet.
Here we have some selected runs from Estelle Ballet. This is just where she was in Haines. Here we have the run in Val Nord. So she really showed some impressive lines this year. Her goal was to show lines that she will be happy about. She challenges herself, and not only going for some good scores or some conservative lines, she really wanted to go out there and prove that she is one of the top riders. And actually, she told me that she never got to that point yet, that she really was super happy with her run. Definitely we saw some great lines of her yet, but there is some to come.
More,
and
yeah.
I talked to her yesterday, and she has, with her mentor and coach, Geraldine Fasnacht, she has been selecting a line that she knows if she can pull it off, she will be happy
Well,
about.
there we go. Geraldine Fasnacht, former event champion here at the Xtreme Verbier. And speaking of Geraldine Fasnacht, she is currently standing next to Mr. Ed Lee. Ed, would you please pick that lovely lady's brain for us?
I will, Dave. I've just been asked to pick your brain by Dave Mailman. You've been mentoring Estelle for how long? 6 years?
6 years now, yeah.
And how's she developed as a talent in your eyes?
She's a great rider today, and but she was already. I mean, she had this sunshine. This sunshine inside that was telling me she was ready to be a great rider, and along the years she was always improving more, and now she's a fantastic rider.
You say sunshine. What are the key elements, do you think, to developing a good free rider or becoming a good free rider?
Motivations. And she's got a lot of motivation. She had, this dream to ride the Bec des Roses one day, and I was finding a lot of energy in her, and I think her riding was already pretty strong when I met her when she was 15. And then the rest is just motivation.
Well, I've just heard that the Bec des Roses is about to start, so I'm going to throw it back to Dave and Martin for the start of the women's snowboarding.
Thank you very much, Ed. And we have that same information that we are just under 1 minute to a potential start of the women's snowboard competition. Here on the top of the Petit Bec, Elodie Mouton is in the starting gate. Once again, 2-time event champion. She won back-to-back here in 2013 and 2014. She's been on tour since 2012. Last year she finished 5th here, didn't have that much luck. And this year, currently sitting in 4th position in the rankings. She cannot win the world title this year, although she is a former world champion as well. In 2013, she won the event and won the world title. So plenty of talent in this young lady's legs. She's out of Les Aravis.
We have to mention that she doesn't focus on snowboarding entirely
No.
over the whole year anymore.
She's a lawyer.
She is
She
a
practices
practicing
law.
lawyer. And you can imagine how much spare time you have as a lawyer.
Not a whole lot. So she actually had a slow start to the season this year. 7th in Val-Nord-Arcadis in Andorra, 6th in Chamonix-Mont-Blanc. But then she got a little bit of riding in on the break and managed to win the event in Fieberbrunn Kitzbühler Alpen, Austria. And then due to scheduling conflicts, in other words, her real job, she had to miss Haynes this year. And unfortunately, we have just had word that, as excited as we were to get this thing underway, the clouds are playing tricks with us once again, and the visibility still is not good enough to send the ladies to, well, to let Elodie take her run down the face of the Petit Bec. Once again, we have very cloudy conditions here in Verbier today, meaning flat light on the mountain. There is a weather window that is previewed for somewhere here at the end of the morning.
That's a very good perspective right here. You can see some clouds breaking above the Bec de Rosse. You have the big bec on the left and the lower bec, the Petit Bec on the right hand side, and you saw those cracks in the clouds, but of course they're pretty thick and heavy. So as soon as one comes across the hiding sun already, then of course
Well, while we wait for the sun to try and poke its nose through a hole in the clouds, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back, fingers crossed, with the women's snowboard competition right after this.
I love a good road trip.
Okay, we are back, and unfortunately the sun is still losing the battle with the clouds here on the Col des Gentianes and the Bec des Rosses. Once again, the ladies' competition on the top, waiting patiently, the women's snowboarders and the women's skiers on the top of the Petit Bec, as we call it, or the ladies' Bec.
You might wonder that we're being on hold for another minute, for another 3 minutes, and this is due to the fact of the wind, actually, because the wind can push those clouds apart within minutes, and so we really cannot put the competition on hold for half an hour. Let's say when we wouldn't have any wind, this would definitely be the case, but the wind kind of is on our side. It's a little bit of a pain for the riders up there because you really freeze up there. It's of course the wind gets pushed across those ridges pretty hard, and that's exactly where the riders are waiting for the drop-in.
That's exactly right. With as cold as we are here in the commentary booth, I would not want to be up on the top of the Petit Bec having to wait to drop in right now. As you can see, the ladies jumping up and down, doing a little dancing, listening to some music to keep warm. And Martin, there's not really much more they can do to warm themselves up than
jumping and dancing.
Jumping and dancing, that's exactly it.
And it really is a big mental game. I don't want to switch anytime soon for the slot of a rider up there. Also for the guys waiting on the big back, it really is a mental game. Can I drop? Shall I drop? Shall I change my line? Because those riders do normally have two, some even have up to 3 alternative lines. And as we've seen in quite a few of those Quattro performance checks where we analyze those runs very precisely, we heard a lot, some riders, even the ones with winning lines, they chose to do those lines very short notice, sometimes minutes before the start.
Depending on the snow conditions and what they saw the other riders do, depending on if lines were tracked out or not,
exactly.
Or if guys were able to stick jumps or not. So lots of factors.
And also the weather factor, which we have right now, comes into play. So if we have a good sun window coming up, I'm sure some riders will choose kind of their first choice, first line. And if not, they're going to stick to a more, let's say, conservative, more open, where you have a little more margin of error, because definitely with this flat light, it's really hard to predict.
Well, while we are waiting, we are going to take a look back in history. Once again, this is the 21st edition of the event. And one of the men who has made history here in Verbier is Jérôme Ruby.
Next out of the start gate, the Frenchman Jérôme Ruby.
Former competitor.
When I heard all those old stories, like my history on the back is like 10, 12 years now that I know all of those runs. But that's kind of where you came into play. You've been part of this game since the very beginning, Dave.
Yeah, I have actually. I've been here as a journalist for the first 2 events, and then joined the commentary team and have been around for at least 15 of the 21 editions. And Jérôme Ruby was one of the more extreme snowboarders at the time. It was really, there were a few freestylers, guys like Axel Poporté and Gilles Varol and Cyril Néry, and then there were the extremists like Jérôme Ruby.
Look how exposed this
exactly,
is.
Dede Rem and Jarkko Antonen. And Jérôme was always a treat to watch. He also actually had one of the biggest falls ever on the Bec des Rosses. I was absolutely horrified to have to commentate that. But as you can see, back in the day, it was really a question of extreme lines versus freestyle lines, whereas nowadays it's more kind of a mix of the two.
Absolutely, and you can see they've been charging in very, very steep terrain from the early days on. And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Ruby was even kind of a reason to come to the back and to have this initiated in '96.
That's right. He was one of the people that, okay, we're going to actually have to leave Jérôme Ruby in 1996 and travel back to the present day and the top of the Petit Bec, where we have a potential starting window, weather window for the women's competition to get underway. It's actually
looking better.
Yeah, it is looking better. It's not looking fantastic, but it's definitely looking better. We're going to give it one more try with our 2-time Extreme champion.
You see Elodie Mouton just buckled up her boots, and or her binding, sorry. She's a snowboarder, so no buckling up the boots. But fixing a binding, that's always a good sign before you get prepared. And to be honest, that's probably the best as it looked for quite a while now. And I think it's going on. It's going off.
That's right.
I'll only believe it when she's riding.
We're getting the countdown. Supposedly 5 seconds to start.
She's doing the wave. I think we're on, Dave.
She is looking ready. Just hoping that the wind doesn't blow some more clouds in front of the sun. She's giving us the big wave.
And she is off.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Elodie Mouton, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, current world number 4 out of France.
Going down fall line through that couloir. Snow is pretty baked there because it turns a little to the east, and now she gets into drier and nicer snow to ride.
And she's going to have her first little jump there.
With a butt check, unfortunately. Unless part of that, very fluid, no hesitation.
So
going for a second jump there.
A little lack of control on first landing. Can she do better on the second? This time she stays on her feet. So considering the conditions.
And a third drop.
Yeah,
very
Elodie,
nice.
well.
Staying in the fall line. And as you just wanted to say, probably with the flat light, we still see some good lines and some drops, which is really hard because you hardly have any contours where you can orientate yourself. And especially drops are a crucial part of lines to attract good scores. And doing that in flat light is really a tough mission.
Well, Elodie Mouton, 28 years young, a very experienced competitor. Once again, in her 5th year on tour.
She has been very big into border cross, if I remember right.
That as well. She started off with a career in border cross, and of course that always helps. Concerning edge control, let's have a look back at the replay.
That's where she showed that skill, and the first drop in that hourglass. We're going to see quite some traffic going through there, as usual. From previous years we've seen it. Here we have a little indication of the judging criterias.
So all green in all categories, so the judges liking it. It's a good way to start.
3 drops and a tiny one at the very bottom, so usage of terrain, very good. Going to be a great reference score for the judges.
65 points, and obviously the top spot currently for Elodie Mouton out of France. Our next rider in the starting gate is Estelle Ballet.
And yeah, the tension is on because she is one of the 2 possible world champions being crowned later on today.
Once again, to simplify the race for the title in women's snowboarding, Estelle Ballet and Anne-Fleur Marxer are both still in contention to win this year's world title. If Estelle wins the event, she wins the world title. If Anne-Fleur wins the event, she wins the world title. Other scenarios come into play if neither win. And she is off and riding our reigning world champion and current world number 2, Estelle Ballet, out of Vercorin, the Valais, riding for Verbier, Switzerland.
Correct. She is a local, growing up on this mountain. That's what, and she's off to a very good start. Great air into that chute. As I said, quite some traffic through that hourglass.
Goes down as well.
She goes down, unfortunately.
But she got that first solid jump up top that Elodie didn't have. Now what's she going to do for us down the bottom?
Nice wind lip spray there. Following my tracks from yesterday. It's a nice line there. And she will exit probably over the cliffs there.
Well, she's going to have to.
But she's, oh, she was a little bit off axis there, but she put her stuff together and made a double out of it. Great stuff. She's not finished yet.
No, coming into another jump down here at the bottom. Stay on your feet, young lady.
Great.
And she does. Estelle Ballet. So putting in a very solid run as well, especially considering the conditions. She did go down on that one. We'll call it the ladies' Hollywood cliff.
Yeah, we could.
In the bottom of the hourglass, because you have to hit that one if you want to have a chance at winning the competition. But she did go down in the back seat on landing, as did Elodie Mouton. But the rest of the run potentially a bit more solid than Elodie's descent.
Oh,
do you concur?
I absolutely agree, and I would even push it a little further. Line choice-wise, this was way more difficult and technical, creative, and those drops, even not perfectly executed, like the hourglass one that we see right here. Great speed there. Unfortunately, she wanted to shut down speed, and then. Yeah, the board just spinned out, and that's a great one. Ooh, I saw her crashing already there, but she put her stuff together.
Pull it off.
Then really great composure in the second drop, and that was the final one at the bottom. So great usage of terrain, top to bottom. From the very top to the bottom, she found some very nice features to drop off, and I'm sure she's kind of happy with it, and the judges are too.
Well, there we go, 70 points, so 5 points in front of Elodie Mouton. And moving into the top spot currently, finished up second here last year. And, well, she's though left quite a bit of room for Anne-Fleur Marxer or for Marion Herty.
I wonder who's on the phone right there.
That's a very good question. Probably Dad. Dad, I made it home safe. I made it down safe and sound. I'm super stoked. She's going to take. She's going to sit down in the hot seat and wait for our last two ladies to come down. Next in is our tour rookie out of Grenoble, France.
And she can be the spoiler.
Yes, indeed, Marion
So
Herty.
if she wins and Anne-Fleur doesn't go anywhere to the top of the podium, she's still on. She's still winning.
Yep,
But we come to those
exactly.
scenarios
let's
as
go
soon
to the
as
scenarios. Let's find out what Marion does, and then we'll know exactly what Anne-Fleur needs to do. Marion Herty, once again, the 24-year-old in her rookie season on the Swatch Freeride World Tour. She was invited to replace an injured Nicolas Tost, and she has podiumed in every event so far on tour. Second to start things off, and 3 third-place finishes in a row. Can she better that here today on the Beck?
Very solid riding, as you just said, throughout the season. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see the same thing here.
Following Estelle's line, going
wow,
even
she's
bigger
going
and sticking
big
it clean.
From the very beginning. Wow, this takes some guts to do, I tell you that, because there are quite some consequences underneath you. And now she has to hesitate a little bit, letting her slough pass. Same thing as the previous riders. Trouble in shutting down the speed after the landing. So a butt check there for Marion.
And another little lack of control there. If she's following Estelle's line now, she's really going to have to go much bigger and stick every single jump cleanly if she wants to have a chance to move into the top spot. Still possible. Ooh, not anymore.
But she went big on that one.
Yeah, she did. That was fantastic. Well,
she didn't get hurt, but looked
that was
okay.
a very gutsy attempt. Unfortunately, that head over heels, a complete lack of control.
She doesn't hold back.
No,
that's
not
for sure.
at all. Well, unfortunately, though, that will be a major penalty in the eyes of the judges.
Going over the ice as well, but into a flat landing. That was not the wisest decision, but she has some young legs, so nothing didn't hurt that much. But that was pretty flat landing. I just passed by on my run yesterday, and it's getting pretty soft or wet down there and more compact. So, but definitely she wanted to have a run full of big airs. So every air she attempted, she kind of took a lot of speed. She straight lined from a few meters above, which is very unusual. And that's also why she jumped pretty far on each of those.
Okay, so at this point currently, we do not have the score. We're taking a look at Marion's line, which was more or less a carbon copy of Estelle Ballet's line. The few minor
although even more, sorry to interrupt.
No, go for it. That's what you're here for.
Elodie Mouton's line, because the same cliffs there. Madame Estelle, she went on the bottom part. She went to the skier's right side of the venue.
Exactly. So the top,
top were similar.
The top was similar, and then
right there,
and then switched over.
And then she took the 2 cliffs that Elodie took, but even further than anyone, actually further than anyone I've seen so far on this venue.
Okay, so now we come back to world title scenarios. Next up is Anne-Fleur Marxer. With those 2 big bales, Marion Herty is going to be in 3rd position currently. There it is, 38.33, and 3rd place, which means that it comes back to
a battle.
Who's going to win? So, as it stands right now, Anne-Fleur Marxer is the last lady to drop in. If she wins, she's the world champion. If she finishes 2nd, she is world champion unless Estelle wins. So Estelle currently in 1st place, so basically Anne-Fleur Marxer has to win the contest.
You are right.
And
was just a great example of how big and committed Marion went all season, actually. And that top drop with the consequences underneath her, really big respect for her. Unfortunately, it didn't play out throughout the whole run. Big crash in the end section. It would have been definitely a potentially winning run. But no spoiler from Marion. Estelle is still in the lead, and this means with the last rider, as he just explained, it all comes down to who wins this event. Is Anne-Fleur capable of throwing down the winning run? Of course she is. She has the talents, but does she manage to do so today?
Well, that's exactly it. Well, competition is on hold again, so we have plenty of time to talk about that question. Anne-Fleur Marxer, once again, won the event in 2011 and won the world title in 2011. So she has done it before. And while we wait, we are going to go down to the finish area with Haley, who is currently sitting next to Estelle Ballet in the hot seat. Take it away, Haley Edmonds.
Absolutely. So I'm standing next to Estelle Ballet, who's currently #1 of this female final here. And we're waiting for Anne-Fleur to come down. How are you feeling?
A little bit stressed, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just feeling, a little bit nervous, but I hope she's gonna have fun, and we'll see. I'm looking forward to see her riding.
So tell me how it was. How was your run for you?
So I took the little entry at the top, rider's right. Then I took the first cliff in the middle of the couloir, went to the mandatory cliff. Landing was harder than I thought, so a little butt check. And then I stick to my line. I was like, okay, go for it now. I went to search Emilien Badou's triple, but I took it as a double.
Okay.
Took a lot of speed, but good surprise. Really happy to be down on my feet, actually.
Oh, us too. Well, what's really funny is that when you came down, you picked up your phone and you had Eva Faulkner on the phone, and you were telling her about the line, giving us information, because she's going to be doing the same line as you.
She's going to do the same line as me, and she asked me, call me at the end, tell me how the snow is, and that's what I did.
What's really funny about the Freeride World Tour is a real spirit between the girls. You said you're nervous for Anne-Fleur at the moment, and obviously we're seeing this camaraderie with you and Eva. I mean, does this kind of push you on? Does this motivate you to do better?
Yeah, it is motivating to help each other, and I know that if I need advices from someone else one day, well, no problem. It's cool to help each other, and it is.
It is the spirit. So just maybe take us through your year. How's the year gone for you personally?
The what?
How's this season gone for you?
Good season generally, and so good start in Andorra, then a crash in Fieberbrunn, and always some little problems, but it's good to see that I could charge all my batteries for Verbier and come here 100% motivating. All my family and friends are here, so it's just awesome to be back at home for the final after a great season. So, and it's motivating to be fighting against Anne-Fleur for the title. The one that wins the tour. It's awesome.
And it's coming down to this run, which we're absolutely...
It's awesome now. Maybe I'll cry in 10 minutes.
Okay, well, we'll come back to you and see how you are. Thank you so much, Estelle. Thank you for the interview. And back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Haley. And Estelle, we do not want to see you crying, young lady. And all the best of luck, but of course it is going to come down once again to the run of Anne-Fleur Marxer. So either way, one of these ladies will win the event and the world title in the same year, which is turning into somewhat of a classic scenario. And we're going to take a quick look at a clip of Anne-Fleur Marxer's highlight moments, and it looks like Anne-Fleur will be starting from a different starting gate than the other ladies. But here she is, Anne-Fleur Marxer. This is what happened so far on tour this year, Martin.
Yeah, she had an amazing run in Chamonix, really fast riding from top to bottom, and then when she really killed it was in Alaska. Those conditions are exactly the ones why she's snowboarding, and she proved it with an amazing run. true Alaskan spines riding, and a huge drop at the bottom that earned her the top spot in Haines, Alaska. Definitely one of the most charismatic people on the tour, and she is currently up there, and I can tell you she is stressed. This is so much mental stress going through her at the moment.
She's doing some deep breathing, trying to clear her mind, and at the same time keep her line focused. That's the only thing she's thinking about right now.
She told me the other day that her kind of tactics to not freak out up there is to sing. Sing, open your lungs, smile, be happy, not think too much about it, because tension is rising anyway.
Yes, indeed. Well, Anne Floor's year, she started off with a 6th place finish in Andorra, and since then it's been all about one of the top 2 spots on the podium, 1 in Chamonix-Mont Blanc, took 2nd in Fieberbrunn Kitzbühel Alpen, and 1st in Haines, Alaska, and she's off and riding.
And she's choosing from start number 1. She's going fast. She's not holding back at all. This is a little more firm in there, but she can control her speed well.
Stick the 3.
Going for 3, big 360 there, but a huge crash. That's a big bummer.
Jump to start that 3, and going for another smaller one. Stay on your feet, Anne Floor. Well, there she's just thrown her hands up in the air. It was really make it or break it for Anne Floor Marxer. Still on her feet, another one, but geez, that was a serious lack of control there. I'd have a hard time seeing the judges putting her into the top spot with, well, now she's at the bottom of the face. So
no, there's no way, but definitely she went for the win, and not only to just get a little more points than Estelle, she really wanted to rip and represent women's snowboarding to the
point range. That's exactly it, going for that massive backside 360 up there. I'm sure we'll have a look at that again. And that was absolutely fantastic. Because now she's got a smile on her face. Here's a big hug. So there we go. Estelle Ballet has backed it up. Our reigning world champ,
pressure
2015 world champ, is now our 2016 world champ. There it is, the run of Anne Floor Marxer. And, well, it was a winning run until she went down on that 360.
Have a look, how
Great
committed.
Start, huh? Yeah.
Yes, that's the very exposed right there. And then she wanted to go for the 3, and she got it all around, but out of balance on the landing there. And then she actually even did another 3 and a drop at the bottom. Like, hands down, definitely one of the best runs, attempt of the best runs ever on the Bec des Roses of the women's snowboarding. But unfortunately, it didn't play out well today.
I think she's the first woman ever to throw a rotation in competition here in Verbier. We're gonna have to double check that.
Yeah,
but
I'm not so sure, but we haven't seen it a lot. That's for sure.
Okay, so Estelle once again world champion. As you can see the 3 French speakers down there congratulating each other all the way around. So Estelle Ballet taking her 2nd world. Taking her 2nd world title on the Swatch Freeride World Tour. Here is the official result list for the women's snowboard competition. Estelle Ballet in the top spot, followed by Elodie Mouton, Anne Floor Marxer, and Marion Erty. And Anne Floor still with a smile on her face. She is a true legend of the sport, and another legend in the making is Estelle Ballet.
And I think we're dropping pretty fast into the next category, as it seems, because I already saw some
some of the women's skiers up there. But the women's snowboard overall ranking, Estelle Ballet, Anne Floor Marxer, Marion Erty, and Elodie Mouton, with Michaela Holsten rounding out our top 5. Congratulations once again to our now 2-time Swatch Freeride World Tour women's snowboard champion, Estelle Ballet, out of Vercorin, Verbier, Switzerland.
Congratulations.
And we are moving into the women's ski competition. Let's have a quick look at what's happened so far this year on tour with the women's skiers.
All right, it was a hectic season. Eva Wagner with a great run this year, proving to be one of the best here in Haines, Alaska, especially when she pulled off an amazing run and earned the title of this prestigious event in North America. On her feet though, the rookie Ariana Tricomi with the win in Fieberbrunn, an amazing run from top to bottom, and she has still the chance, a slight chance, to become world champion today. And all the other riders definitely had a great season as well, but couldn't keep up with those two girls, Ariana and Eva, which are fighting for the title today.
Yes, indeed they are. And
here we have
is
the
our
start
start list. Matilda Rappaport out of Sweden will be first in, followed by our reigning world champ, Eva Volkner. Nadine Vollner, two-time world champ, will be third in, followed by Jackie Passo, as well as Ariana Tricomi and Evelina Nilsson. Here she is, Matilda Rappaport, coming off a podium finish in Alaska, will be our first lady in here on the Petit Bec today in Verbier.
Matilda is coming straight from Alaska, as all the other riders too, but she actually spent even some more time there to shoot for her new movie with Peak Performance and Red Bull. And so she has some fresh legs. I hope the jet lag is not killing her too much. And she's going for it big, following Anne-Flo Max's turns right there. No hesitation, as we know, her riding style, very aggressive and fluid. Going into steeps with consequences. She's a little bit off the bubble there, but getting her pieces back together and getting into a very steep part, which is a very crucial one. We've seen so far quite some winning lines going down exactly this chute there. Is she going big into this flat light? She is. Very nice run there so far. Does she go?
And
No. What unfortunate turnout. After a great run at the bottom, the snow changes a lot. Maybe you remember my GoPro first look. I told the audience that it really changes a lot at the bottom. It gets more crusty, more humid, and you could see it's a little flat light also, of course, for us with the camera, but you could see all those little balls that went down, and this is humid snow. Like when in the afternoon the sun has the most effect, then all those little balls kind of come out of the snow, roll down, and this is really tough to control your speed there. That's what probably happened
with the relatively flat light. You know, the
such
visibility.
a bummer. What a great
very
run
solid
it was.
Up top.
Yeah, no hesitation into the steep, and we've seen, as you see, the judging criterias. Everything in green except with the control. Here, everything is still perfect, no trouble, and on this turn she gets, she gets into those.
Yeah, the little
it looks
balls
like
of snow,
avalanche debris, but it's not. But it feels very similar, and unfortunately with the flat light, she probably didn't see that coming.
So covered in snow,
but
still in one piece. Exactly, Matilda
GoPro
Rappaport.
is still on.
Current world number 3, 40 points, and the top spot for the moment. But with the heavy hitters yet to come, she knows she's not going to stay there for very long.
But she went for a winning line. That's big up for her.
Yes, indeed. Well, 2 podium finishes this year. Coming off a second place finish in Haines. She knew she didn't have a chance at winning the world title, but she could have potentially moved into second position.
Next one in the start gate is the Austrian Nadine Vollner. Sorry, Eva
Volkner. Yes.
Sorry.
Another Austrian.
Yes.
No worries. Reigning world champ, and looking for a big run here in Verbier today.
And it's a big day for her because she can turn out to be the second year world champion today.
Exactly.
Everything is on her side. But she has to come down with a decent run.
She has to
as usually, she's not holding back. She still wants to compete well, and she does. Very technical area right there. Very fluid riding. This is pretty steep in there, and everything well so far. Not holding back at the bottom. She already could say that's it because I don't only need a decent result, but she's not. She still rips at the bottom. Of course, not risking it all to the max. Very smart, wise riding. But she's not done yet. There's even another drop to come.
No, well, she knows that she does. If she finishes top 5, she wins her 2nd world title in a row. But she knows that Ariana Tricomi is capable of winning the event as well. And if Eva doesn't finish top 5 and Ariana wins, then Ariana takes the world title. So all of the chances are with Eva Valkner, but she does have to put down a solid performance to guarantee herself her 2nd world title in a row, and she
to be honest with
done
you,
just that.
Exactly, she's down safe on her feet with a great run. Maybe not the winning run, we'll see.
But a very solid run nonetheless.
Yes, look at that. That very technical area there. Slough management, well done. And a complete run, like from the top, getting into the technical shoots, then a drop in there, and finishing off with another one at the bottom. And she actually knows.
Yeah, and we know
she is world champion.
Okay, because there's only 6 ladies in the running,
yes.
And she's going into the top spot, 75 points. So she's already in the top 5, and
she knows
she is officially our new women's world champion on the Swatch Freeride World Tour 2016 in the women's ski category. So there are 2 fantastic talents, our 2 Swatch Freeride World Tour women's champs for 2016. Congratulations, Eva Valkner and Estelle Ballet. But the competition continues. And another world champion, actually a 2-time world champion out of Austria as well, Nadine Wallner, is ready to go up on the top.
What a
of the
season for
bank.
her. Coming back from a major injury. She had to completely quit the full season. Coming back this year, not having stomped a single cliff before her first competition in Andorre. And she managed to make the cut with a great result in Fieberbrunn, her last chance there. And she stood up to expectations of herself. Her goal of the season was to compete the next year,
Exactly.
to qualify for the next season, and that's what she did.
She was another one of our riders who qualified for Haines, Alaska, but was unable to make the trip, but still qualified for the grand finale here.
And I'm pretty sure
Xtreme
she's
Verbier.
not wants to risk anything with the flat light. This injury that she has was so severe that definitely it's still up in her head. And
Now she's
playing it smart.
Doing her job, that's exactly it. Making it from the top to the bottom on her 2 feet and in one piece.
We all know that she can do better and has the potential to perform some winning lines.
And she's going to do that in 2017.
Yes.
And there it is, Nadine Wallner. Once again, our 2013 and 2014 women's world champ. So the last 4 years on the Swatch Freeride World Tour in the women's ski category, it's been all about Austria, hasn't it, Mark?
Oh yeah, we have some really strong riders out there, men and girls. They are ripping, and there are even more to come.
for not playing the game.
Here we have Nadine, as you just said, 2 times world champion, and that was 13 and 14. And last year we had Eva Valkner taking off into the lead and following up again with a 2 in a row. Great visualization that we have here
of Nadine's line. And once again, it was a relatively easy line for someone of her stature.
Like for sure, it was her being in cruise mode. She didn't do any airs, but definitely on purpose. She's still smiling. Of course, she would have loved to charge down, but of course, with that injury, that I can tell you, like going through such an injury, it's even a miracle to be back in the competition mode as she is right now.
Yes, indeed. Well, another heavy hitter in the women's ski category, this time out of the US of A, is Jackie Passo from Squaw Valley, California, currently residing in Åre, Sweden with her boyfriend,
Not only
Former
boyfriend, it's a fiancé.
Fiancé now.
There is
Rainey
a wedding,
Barkred, and she's on
wedding
course.
date.
Jackie Passo. We'll talk more about the wedding date later. Currently
She's
on
on course. And she has kind of a little bit of some redemption to do. She's very competitive and she wants to do well.
Yeah.
We have seen her putting down some amazing runs, but sometimes it's her daily condition that when we see some conservative ones, and then sometimes it's just a pure highlight, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see a highlight today. Great stump there, no hesitation, great slough management. Of course, with the flat light, she's not going as big as she was intending to do with better light conditions. Another drop in the fall line. Staying a little bit within the tracks, no new features opening up, but everything well executed. Definitely one of the better runs that we've seen so far.
What I love about Jackie Passo is she is very competitive, and not only is she competitive with the other women skiers, she's also competitive with her fiancé, Rainey Barkred, to see who will finish higher in the rankings at each of the competitions. And believe me, when she makes the podium and Rainey doesn't, she is one very, very happy lady.
Yeah.
And her hands up in the air, so she looks
Great
content
run.
with that descent. Could be a podium finish here today for Jackie Passo, taking the win. Not so sure, but we shall see. There it is once again down the face of the Petit Bec. Jackie Passo's descent. It was a very solid one.
Absolutely, you can see straight fall line over that sand. I always say sand clock. It's the hourglass. Always those direct translations.
That's all right.
Here we have. This is the hourglass right there. You see slough management. She had to actually even jump into her slough, but she still put it together. Oh, and she's breathing hard.
Yes, indeed.
It was a big hike, and she charged from top to bottom. So
the moment of truth.
We have a new leader.
84.33 points, and Jackie Passo takes the lead. And that could be it. She's looks a little bit in disbelief, actually.
Yeah.
Getting a big hug and some congratulations from Eva Volkner. So Jackie Passo will take over the hot seat from Eva Volkner as we move on to our current world number 2, and that is where she will finish. The tour rookie out of Italy, Arianna Triccomi. And we are back on hold once again for the same reason, due to a lack of visibility. The wind has blown the clouds back in. And
now it sinks in. Look at her smile now.
And I was going to say, actually, before we potentially were moving on to Arianna Triccomi, as we take a look back at this run from our new leader in the women's ski competition, Jackie Passo.
Here we have
her best ever finish
footage,
here.
Super slow motion. Sorry to
Awesome,
interrupt because
no
it's
problem,
right there. And look at that. Into flat light, you really have to commit whatsoever. You have to kind of also just trust in yourself. Okay, the landing is coming. I know it's coming. Ah, there it is. And that's just probably the same conditions that we have Arianna riding in. Same start as Jackie Passo. We've seen her dropping out of start gate number 2. And Arianna also has, she proved it already this season, the talent to win events, and also on the Bec des Roses.
Yes,
she
indeed.
is motivated.
Took first place in Fieberbrunn Kitzbühel Alpen and a podium finish, third place in Haines, Alaska. Looking for another podium finish here today to keep herself at second place in the rankings. Once again, Arianna Triccomi, the Italian rookie, 23 years young. There's the score to beat. Once again, Jackie Passo, 84.33, looking for her first win ever here on the Bec des Roses in Verbier, Switzerland. And often riding.
Often riding, and actually on her
Arianna
first
Triccomi.
attempt on the Bec des Roses, the lady. Ooh, there was a little wobble on the start there, but she managed to stay on her feet. And straight into that drop, mandatory drop up there. Ooh, keep your stuff together. Ooh, no.
She's going to have to
slide over there. Luckily, we have great snow conditions. It has been snowing into the rocks. She stayed all the way down on the snow, but definitely she is bummed not to have finished her run as she wanted to. She managed to shut down just in time not to get head over heels over the rocks. Kind of semi-controlled crash there.
Exactly, and there was about 500 points separating.
Whoa, and a 360 attempt there. Oh.
Ah.
But of course, with goggles full of snow from a crash on top, maybe not the smartest idea, but
No,
she wanted to put on the show for the
if
audience.
she wanted to make up for the lack of control up top, she needed to do something big down the bottom, and unfortunately that did not pay off for her at all. And the rankings could be a bit of a change in the rankings now with Jackie Passo in the top spot currently, and Ariana Tricomi. There was only 500 points separating the two of them, so Ariana, depending on where she finishes, may get knocked out of second position on our Swatch Freeride World Tour Women's Ski Rankings for 2016. We do have one more run yet to come, so plenty of possibilities. There we go, Ariana Tricomi, 5th position, 25 points. Not the result she was looking for at all here in Switzerland today. And then there was another tour rookie, this one out of Sweden. This is Evelina Nilsson.
Here we have actually Ariana and Evelina, the tour rookies.
Yep.
They will compete next year again as they qualified for the next season, and I'm really happy to have them on tour because they are happy campers, great skiers, and always up for a smile, even if they're not doing well. Really great attitude out of the two rookies.
Yes, indeed. So Evelina Nilsson has had one podium finish this year in Val Nord Arcalis in Andorra, the first competition of the year. She definitely has the potential to finish on the podium here today with a few of the lackluster performances from some of the other women's ski competitors or the unfortunate falls. Now, it's funny as well with Evelina Nilsson, due to the restart of the women's ski competition in Fieberbrunn, they actually extended the cut for the women's skiers to 8 instead of 7, allowing Evelina to qualify for Alaska and to be here in Verbier today. She actually wouldn't have made the original cut. As we have a look at Ariana Tricomi.
She got into her back seat, bad visibility up there, and then when it began to roll in the very steep section, she had a high sider there, managed to have her skis facing downhill and shut down the speed of her fall, but definitely not all the way. She had to slide off that cliff feature there. Semi-controlled, as I said before, landing on the feet again. Great control, I would say, within the crash. Great footage of the Phantom camera. Took away some rocks of the Bec des Roses.
Okay, and while we wait for the weather to clear and for the last lady to drop in, we're going to throw it down to Haley, who is in the finish area with our current leader, Jackie Passo.
Absolutely, she's sitting in the hot seat. Jackie Passo, her run with 84.33 points. So currently you're in the lead, waiting for the last skier to drop in. How are you feeling?
I'm nervous and excited. Obviously, Evelina's a great rider, so you know, I want to hold on to the lead, but second is also not so bad. But yeah, I feel good. Good to lay down a solid run and yeah, do what I plan to do for the most part. So
already you've bettered your score, which you finished 3rd in 2014 here. So I imagine that was your kind of goal to beat.
Yeah. Well, my goal is to win. So I don't know. We'll see. I have this thing. I've never been second before, so maybe this is the first time. But yeah. We'll see.
We will see. And we're just kind of roughly calculating for the Freeride World Tour, you've possibly got a place in the podium because you're currently 4th. If you stay in first place, then you've definitely, well, if I've worked it out right, got a place in the podium.
Yeah, that's also great too. I mean, it's really excited for Ava. I think is she the leader again? She wins, so awesome to have her up on top again, and be nice to be on the podium up there with her as well, if possible.
Absolutely, and I'm just going to go back to something the commentators were saying about you and Rennie, who's also competing in this. Now, is it true that you kind of have a bet between you to see who does better in this competition?
Well, actually, I think this contest we were saying it'd be nice if we both were on the top of the podium for once. So we're both supporting each other, and yeah, I mean, sometimes if maybe I hit a cliff bigger than him, I'll rub it in. But other than that, we're hoping that both of us do well.
So it's your 7th time here in Verbier. How's it like? Do you still get scared when you're up the top of the Petit Bec?
Not really scared, just nervous. Just especially the 7th time, just wanting it to all come together for once. So, I mean, it's an intimidating venue, but it's not quite like the top of the Bec, like the guys are skiing. So, yeah, more nerves than anything.
So you have kind of a bit more experience than maybe some of the other skiers here. I mean, did you utilise that to your advantage? Was your line a bit more kind of like planned and referenced to previous years, for example?
Yeah, like I've done a line like that before, just executed it better this time, and I knew exactly where we wanted to be and yeah, so of course it's much easier when you know what things look like, and you never know what the snow conditions are like until you get in it, but yeah, it helps.
I'm sure it does. So you're qualified for the next year. I'm just going to kind of like relax after this, or what have you got planned?
Got some more ski projects, gonna drive up to Sweden right after this, so nice 30-hour drive. But yeah, it's still winter up there, so we'll do some projects, and I think after late May I'll relax a bit.
All right, well, thank you very much for this interview, Jackie. As we said, there's one more skier to go. It's back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Haley, and congratulations on her best result ever here in Verbier, Switzerland for Jackie Passo, either a 2nd or 1st, currently sitting in the top spot. And we will be back with the end of the women's ski competition right after this.
3, 2, 1, go. Tell me what you waiting for. Black, white, silver, go. Come on, come on, come on. I want more. I need more. So give me more. Come on, come on, come on, more. Come on, come on. I want more. I need more. So give me more.
Welcome back to Verbier, Switzerland, and the 21st edition of the Swatch Freeride World Tour. Xtreme Verbier, one lady yet to come here in the women's ski competition today. Sitting in the top spot is America's Jackie Passo. And our top 3 in the rankings currently, our new women's world champ, Eva Valkner, Jackie Passo 2nd, and Ariana Tricomi, the Italian rookie, in 3rd. Evelina Nielsen, the Swedish rookie, looks ready to drop in now. Evelina, always a threat. She can win the competition. If she does, she will move way up in the rankings. She does have 1 podium finish so far this year, a 3rd place in Val Norcalis. And she's starting well.
With a great drop in there. She has great visibility. She skied around one of those features that we've seen Matilda hit before, which I was a little bit surprised because they are talking a lot about lines, so I'm sure she's gonna ski some similar stuff, but very great top there, getting into very steep section. This is where we've seen Kevin Gury yesterday in his forerun, and she is probably going off that cliff. Very Wow, that great execution. As Jackie said, she is pretty nervous because Evelina can charge. And can she put it together?
No. Oh.
Ah, that was a big crash.
Losing his
Is
ski.
she waving? Yes, she is okay.
She's okay. She's okay.
That's a sign. International sign of freeride competitions. I'm okay if you wave your hand.
But hitting those big snow cookies down the bottom, wow, she was going fast.
She was racing down. And hard to look at.
Yep, just a face plant. Losing her ski, so that will be an official did not finish, so she will be in 6th position.
Yep.
And
unfortunately, because that would have definitely challenged the top, like the very top podium
that
today.
could have been a podium run. That was, even though there's only 2 jumps in there, that was they were big ones.
Yes,
and
that
she
was a
definitely
big
put it
jump.
all on the line. Very fast down the bottom as well.
Unfortunately, not being able to shut down the speed. She controlled the speed, but definitely she was nervous getting into that feature.
So here are the official results. Once again, taking her first ever win here in Verbier is America's Jackie Passo, followed by Eva Volkner and Nadine Wallner, the two-time Austrian world champions. Matilda Rappaport, Ariana Tricomi, and Evelina Nilsson rounding out the field. So once again, a big round of applause for Jackie Passo taking her first ever win here at the Swatch Freeride World Tour Xtreme Verbier.
Congratulations to the two, Jackie and Eva. And great to see Evelina back in one piece. That was a heavy crash with a lot of speed.
Yes, indeed it was. All the ladies. Big round of hugs down the bottom instead of applause, but big round of applause from the rest of us. What a year it has been for the women's skiers. Here is the overall tour ranking. Eva Volkner once again taking her 2nd world title in a row. Jackie Passo with her win here today moves into 2nd. Ariana Tricomi, the Italian rookie, takes 3rd, followed by Matilda Rappaport, Nadine Wallner, Evelina Nilsson, and Lauren Cameron out of Canada, rounding out the top 7. Those ladies all qualified for next year. The rest of the World Tour rankings: Moser, Rapp, Birnbaum, Uber, Paviard, Kane, Noyes, and Christine Hargan retiring in 2016, retiring from competition. Now, a great show from the women's skiers and the women's snowboarders on the Petit Bec here today. And Martin, it looks like the sun is starting to shine on the top of the Bec des Roses, which means with a little bit of luck, we will be getting things underway very soon for the men's ski competition. We're going to throw down to Haley Edmonds once again in the finish area, who is with our now 2-time world ski champion, Eva Volkner.
Absolutely, I'm next to Eva Volkner, who is our, now 2015 and 2016 freeride world champion. Congratulations, Eva. How's it feel for you?
I don't know. I can't believe it. It's amazing. I don't know.
You came off a win in Alaska, obviously coming into Verbier. Were you more at ease here on the Petit Bec here today?
Again, sorry?
Sorry, were you more at ease? Was there less pressure here?
No, I'm not proud of my round because I looked for the really small cliff drops. I just tried to ski not as fast as I usually ski. Usually I look for something bigger, you know, and more risk. But this time it was not, the focus was not on a single result in Verbier, it was more on the result, the all-over title. So that was my goal, and I skied like that, and yeah, it worked out perfect.
Well, it was a great strategy, playing it safe, and it's got you the world title, so congratulations, and thank you very much. I'm here with our 2016 freeride world champion, Eva Volkner. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations once again to our now 2-time world champion in the women's ski category out of Austria. It is Eva Volkner. We're going to throw over to Ed Lee to wrap things up here from the women's ski and snowboarding at the Xtreme Verbier in Switzerland. Okay. So we'll be throwing over to Ed in a moment as we take a look. As you can see, plenty of Freeride World Tour fans there on the Col des Gentianes. It is a fantastic view this year as well. There's a spectators area at the very bottom of the face. So as the riders make their way down, the spectators on site can hobnob with the world's elite freeriders, as well as watch all the action on a big screen set up down below as well, and listen to the live commentary. And now we're going to toss it over to Ed Lee.
Thank you very much, Dave. As you can see, spectators gathered on the ridgeline. They've witnessed an incredible amount of competition already this morning. I think the highlight for me, women's skiing there, Jackie Passo's line, incredibly technical. Also, Anne-Fleur Marxey, you've got to send out some huge props to her. She could have ridden quite conservatively and gone for a win there, but instead she decided to go full bore and she charged into, I think the boys were calling it one of the first big rotations in women's snowboarding on the Bec de Ros. Frontside 360 off a wind lip, couldn't quite land it, but didn't compromise again, went for another frontside 360 and then a big line at the bottom. So plenty to chew over there in the women's competition. We're going to be switching things over very shortly from the YouTube player that you're watching on the Freeride World Tour webcast at the moment. You're going to need to refresh your browser as we go on to the Red Bull TV broadcast, but that will come up in just a little while. Right now, though, you can see the Bec de Ros behind me. There's plenty of sun on the top of it. We've been battling the weather for the last half an hour, 40 minutes, but the wind has dropped. There's sunlight sat on the top of that face. So it's starting to look very, very promising. Now in its 21st year, the Verbier Xtreme is one of the most prestigious freeride contests in the world. Today, more than 5,000 people are going to make their way up here to the Col des Gentianes, where they'll have front row seats for one of the greatest shows on earth. Stay tuned to Red Bull TV because you can join them right now. Since 1996, the Verbier Xtreme has been held on the imposing Bec de Ros mountain. It represents the pinnacle of competitive freeriding. This face is to big mountain riding what Pipeline is to surfing, what Wimbledon is to tennis, what Monaco is to Formula One. This is the event everyone wants to win. If you can overcome your fear and tame this incredibly steep and exposed mountain, you will achieve legendary status. Welcome to Verbier, Switzerland for the finale of the 2016 Freeride World Tour. History has proved that this is one of the most breathtaking spectacles in all of sport. Today, the team and I are going to be bringing you all of the action as it unfolds on the mountain behind me. We've already seen two categories, women's snowboarding and women's skiing. We've still got men's snowboarding and men's skiing still to go. If you're unsure of exactly where the ski resort of Verbier is, then let's take a closer look. If you track south out of Verbier, picture perfect ski resort located in an idyllic south-facing bowl, you will find the intimidating site of the Bec des Rosses. The peak sits at just over 3,200 metres. That's nearly 10,000 feet. And there's a vertical drop of 600 metres, so nearly 2,000 feet. In the words of the legendary US skier JT Holmes, that's more than the average North American ski resort has in vertical drop. So, if we take a look now, the most spectacular part of this space, the most spectacular part of this face, the most redeeming feature is undoubtedly the gradient. We're going to put a heat map on this face. You can see those green graphics on there now. These are 25 to 35 degrees. That is the same as any black run that you could ride in Europe. The yellow zone represents 35 to 45 degrees. The red at the top there is anything above 45 degrees, right up to 55 degrees. If you fall there, you aren't going to stop. It is a terrifying gradient. As you move up the face though, you can see that it looks difficult to navigate from the front, but that is nothing compared to how it looks from the athlete's perspective. When viewed from above, you get a feel for just how terrifying this face really is. I am blind. Snowboarding. So let's have a look back and recap the season so far. So the standout this year undoubtedly has been Sami Lubki. It's his 4th year on tour, and for the first time he has claimed the overall tour champions title, and he did it with an event to spare after a virtuoso performance in Alaska. But he comes to Verbier. It's the only winning medal missing from his cabinet, and the people he's going to be facing are the retiring Flo Orley, 2014 champ Emilian Badu, and the wild card and 4-time winner of the Verbier Xtreme, Xavier Delarue. He is entered in the contest today, so the field is an embarrassment of riches in terms of talent. The guys are at the top of the face now, ready to drop. You can see it. 600 vertical meters of incredibly steep, rock-littered faces. These guys have their lines in their head and they're ready to drop. It's a face that haunts as much as excites. It's now time to hand over to our commentators, Dave Mailman and Martin Winkler. Gentlemen, enjoy yourselves.
Thank you very much, Ed Lee, and it is just as intimidating to watch, well,
yeah.
Almost as it is to ride. Martin, you have ridden the face before, so really give us, from a rider's standpoint, what's going through your mind and what's happening in your body when you stand up the top there. And we'll get back to that as we take a look at the starting list. First down will be Camille Armand from France, followed by our world champ, Sami Lubki. Once again, 4-time winner here in Verbier, Xavier Delarue, Flor Orley, Jonathan Penfield, Emilian Badu, and Christopher Galvin. So those are the men getting ready to drop. And once again, Martin, my question, what is going through their minds and what's happening in their stomachs as they take a look down the face of the very imposing Bec des Rosses?
Yeah, in fact, there weren't many situations where I was more nervous and, let's put it there, more fear-fulfilled standing on top of any mountain in the world. And first of all, I thought, I don't belong here, but when I saw some legends of the sport, my heroes, standing next to me saying the same thing, I was pretty much relieved. And it still is, to date, the same thing. When you hear Xavier Delarue, 4-time champion on this mountain, riding on the steepest mountain all over the planet, and he still has the same feeling up there. It is fear that is really dominating, but fear is a protection system that we have, so that you really stay within the limits that you choose yourself, and these are pretty high up there. So the consequences are as high as nowhere else, and Camille seems to be ready to go,
indeed.
and actually he is on his way already.
The
That was a
23-year-old
quick start
out of Chamonix Mont Blanc for his first ever trip down the face of the Bec des Rosses.
Very
And,
young rider, proved that he can go big. We haven't seen him going into the most technical lines yet, and to be honest, the Bec des Rosses is technical from the very start to the bottom. No chance to get around and to have an easy line.
Well, he did podium at the first event of the year in Andorra, and coming off a 4th place finish in Haines, Alaska, and of course coming out of Chamonix Mont Blanc. So starting well up top with a relatively small jump into, though, a fairly steep part of the face, not one of the steepest, into the Col de la Chaux, and then transferring over the spine into the dogleg couloir.
And of course, we have a lot of people in the audience that have been seeing competitions, maybe even live here at the Bec des Rosses before. It is 21 year in the running. You see another cliff in the couloir, in the dogleg couloir of Camille right now. But we have really flat-like conditions, unusual flat-like conditions, and I'm very sure this will reduce kind of the spectacular moments from the riders. You can see Camille not as fast going down the mountains as we have seen previous riders in the years before, but this really comes down to the flat light. You cannot charge as hard when you don't see the contours.
No, not at all, but
he still goes for it with a big backflip. Oh,
back seat on the landing, but he's back on his feet.
You're right.
So not a huge lack of control, not nearly the same lack of control as we saw from some of the ladies. Lining up another huge one here. And sticks it clean as well. So playing it safe up top, but fitting in lots of features to jump. And then going for the back flip with a back seat landing, but another big jump as the exclamation point at the bottom of that run. So the Tour rookie, the 23-year-old, showing the experience in his young years, earned on the peaks of the Chamonix Valley.
Oh yeah, of course. He comes from a place where it's stacked with mountains like this. And it is, in fact, not very far from here. It's just 1 hour drive, more or less. And this guy is not a rookie anymore. Camille, he really proved a lot over the last season,
and
this past season.
Very important to note as well, coming into this competition ranked 4th in the world, but our current world number 3 on the rankings before this event, Ralph Backstrom from the US of A, is not with us here in Verbier. He withdrew from the event. So with that very solid run from Camille Armand, he could potentially move onto the Freeride World Tour podium come the end of the competition. And let's see what the judges thought of that one. 60 points and the top spot currently for Camille Armand.
As you said, he definitely picked it up at the bottom of his run.
That's exactly it. And well, we'll see how things play out for the young Frenchman.
We already have second rider, the current, like the actual, well, how do you say that in English? The actual world champion?
Our current leader, as it says on his golden bib, and our current, or our new world champion for 2016 is Sammy Lubke taking over.
Gets a push by the gorilla, by Flo Orly.
Taking over from who was our reigning world champion, Dudes Charlet, who did not make the cut, had a shocker of a season.
And Sammy Lubke, he just appears on the bottom left of the image there. Now we see him perfectly. He sneaked around from the backside of it.
Into the Col de la Chaux, and then will now be transferring back into the dogleg.
And he's going for a big air, stomping it clean.
Huge.
We've seen him in Fieberbrunn picking up the pace in big mountain riding with a huge air there, and he just does that from the very beginning of the Bec des Rosses line.
So that's the big air up the top into the Col de la Chaux. Now he's transferred into the dogleg couloir. That is a big air that usually only the skiers take, but Sammy Lubke, as we saw in Alaska, is not afraid at all of taking the skiers' lines and stomping them clean. And he's done it once again here in Verbier. Continuing along, throwing in some very solid turns, and another massive air.
And here, shutting down the speed is such a crucial thing, because the further down they get, it gets more dense. The heat really had an effect on the snow. Not in the steepest part where it's more shady, but that here really is getting more and more dense.
Sticking this one clean
but
as well.
Very clean. This is a potential winning run.
No doubt.
As Ed just mentioned before, it is missing in his stack of medals and trophies.
Yes, indeed. He finished third here in Verbier last year, but he has never won the event. And
and especially that air at the top. Look at here we have that.
Fantastic.
As you explained nicely, the dogleg, entering into the dogleg, it's kind of from the very top of the mountain, the dogleg starts into that chute and then comes across. It has kind of this elbow corner.
It's an elbow to it. That's
it is
exactly
an elbow,
it.
yeah. And that's what we call the dogleg there.
Jumps into the Col de la Chaux and then comes over that little wind lip up the top into the dogleg couloir.
He is pleased with his run.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Here we have a little bit of hesitation, but going for a huge air. So the hesitation will not be as deducted as in other parts. And then shutting down the speed, very solid. Wow, that is a big move right there.
And here's where he comes over into the dogleg, and that's absolutely fantastic. This as well.
Solid control. Very surprising for his type of riding that we haven't seen any 360. No grabs, in fact.
I think
but
Sammy,
that's what the Bec de Ros is about.
No doubt. 85 points, and well, we have some very experienced riders yet to come, but Sammy Lubke, as we say, throwing down the gauntlet. But if there is one man that knows a thing or two about winning this event, it is Xavier Delarue, 4-time Xtreme Verbier champion, 3-time Swatch Freeride World Tour champion in men's snowboarding. And if he wins today, he will equal the record for the most wins in this event, which is currently held by the legendary snowboarder Steve Klassen. So Xavier Delarue, ladies and gentlemen, Verbier local, but originally out of the Pyrenees Mountains in France, is off for his umpteenth trip down the face of the Bec de Ros.
Exactly, and starting into the steep opening part.
So straight into the dogleg for Xavier.
This is so steep right there, and to ride into it fluently, not easy to do. Airs out of it into the more open field, stays on that shoulder.
And what's interesting as well, Xavier was not even supposed to compete in the event this year. He had declined his invitation and literally yesterday said, oh, the snow looks good, I guess I'll do it anyways.
And with his legendary status, of course, he's one of the only one who can actually do that. And to be honest, it's always a show that he puts on. One of the best riders in the world, no doubt. Same air out of the dogleg.
And same reception.
Sam Lubke, and as he said, same reception, perfect execution there. Will we see some more spice at the end of the run?
Yes, potentially. And one thing just to note, you can tell how flat light the conditions are, because this is the slowest I've ever seen Xavier Delarue make it down the face of the Bec de Ros.
Yeah.
Picking up speed a little bit at the bottom.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't want to. Well, we know he wanted to go as fast as possible, but maybe it was not the best choice. Almost losing it, but of course he is Xavier Delarue. So keeping his control on his edges. Also, he doesn't like us to talk about it anymore, but 3-time X Games gold medalist in border cross. So he does know a
3 times world champion in border cross.
3 times world champion in border cross as well.
This man has some history of snowboarding on his back.
But the border cross stuff, it was a long time ago, but it definitely helps him keep his edge control in extreme conditions like this.
Oh yeah, this is super exposed up there. And when we talk about light conditions, as we had, and we see here the judging criteria is everything in the green, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with the line of Mr. Sammy.
I'm going to play it. I'm going to go with the Californians and say that Lubke, there we go. Yep, 10-point difference.
And it is definitely that big drop that Sammy Lubke went into at the very top, which is huge.
Which
really
is something that we would have expected from Xavier Delarue. In the past, he has opened cliffs. There is a Xavier cliff up there on the right-hand side, looker's right-hand side of the face. We probably won't see anyone taking that line as we go back on hold. But Xavier Delerue, as well, must be noted, riding with two toes that were almost that were frozen.
Gelé.
Yeah, exactly. Just last week was another reason he didn't want to ride. Got a brand new pair of boots yesterday as well. And between the boots and the good snow, he said, you know what? I think I'm going to have a go at it anyways.
Yeah.
And a spectacular performance, if not his best ever. Another classic line down the face of the Bec des Roses from the four-time event
Look at
champion.
this view. I want to introduce you to that look here.
Sends
Stepping
shivers
over
up my spine.
the shoulder. This is the most impressive view that you can have. And that's what the riders more or less see. There is the landmarks are really hard to grasp. Although it's not rolling a lot because it's just gradually steep, steep, steep from the very top. And it just flattens out 600 meters below at the very bottom. So a lot of consequences if you go big at the top of the run.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of going big at the top of the run, Sami Lübke did just that, and he is down at the bottom waiting to be interviewed by Haley. Take it away, Haley.
Sami Lübke, who's actually keeping warm in the hot seat, our current leader and our 2016 free ride world champion. You were crowned in Alaska. You're coming off a second there. What kind of frame of mind were you in at the top there?
Yeah, I was in a good frame of mind. I mean, there's no pressure. The only thing that was going on up in my head was we were sitting up there for like 2 hours in the wind, not knowing what the snow is going to be like. And the run we just did was like, so flat light. The visibility was pretty tough. So all in all, happy I made it down. Went better than I was imagining up there. So yeah, sitting in the hot seat.
You said you didn't take your initial line, but you had an alternative backup. Why was that?
I was gonna take just a cruiser, like a mellow one, skip a feature that I, looked at in the past and really thought I wanted to do. And as soon as I got around the corner, I was like, it's right there, I gotta hit it. So I ended up hitting another cliff that I wasn't planning on, so that was cool.
So that was an improvised massive jump you took there?
Yeah, it's a little improvised, definitely last minute. And landing looked good from inspecting from the top, so I said why not when I got there.
You finished third here. There is a missing medal. It's obviously first place here in your Verbier Xtreme in your medal cabinet. Is that the goal for the day?
Yeah, I'd love to come out with the gold here. It's it's the prestige, it's the Bec, so come out on top and be the champ would be the best thing ever.
Double champ, yeah, why not? Well, thank you very much, Sami.
Thank you.
And thank you, Haley, and congratulations once again to Sami Lübke on his World Championship title, as well as his current position in the hot seat at the top of the Swatch Freeride World Tour Xtreme Verbier rankings here today on the Bec des Roses. The competition still on hold. It's been one of those start again, stop again days here in Verbier, Switzerland. We're just waiting for the sun to poke its head out of the clouds one more time. And so we've already seen Camille Armand, Sami Lübke, and Xavier Delerue make their way down the face of the Bec des Roses. Solid runs from all three competitors. And currently Sami Lübke definitely looking good with an 85-point run. But there still are 4 riders yet to come, and 2 of them have plenty of experience and podium finishes here on the Bec des Roses. Next in will be Flo Orly, who's been competing here since the year 2000. This will be his 16th trip down the face of the Bec des Roses, with podium finishes in 3 of those years. His best ever finish is second. So he will be looking for a win as well. And while we wait for the weather to cooperate, we are going to pass it back over to Ed Lee, who is in the studio with our 2011 Women's World Snowboard Champion, Anne-Fleur Marxer.
Thank you, Dave. Anne-Fleur, I've got to say, you lost the overall today, and you lost the Verbier title, but you've come away with your pride intact. That was a phenomenal run.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's what I'm so happy about my season. I think each competition I really looked for the one run that I wanted to do, and I went full on and I gave my best, and I really tried. And of course, coming here today, there was a lot in the game, but the conditions were really bad. We couldn't see much. The snow was horrible. But I'm really happy that I went for it anyways, and I took full speed, and I did my frontside 3, and unfortunately I went through the snow in the landing. But I'm just, there's no regrets, and that's what's really important about it. Just go for it, give it the best. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Today it didn't work, but at least I have no regrets, and I'm so happy to be here, and I had the best season, so I'm just very happy.
It really impressed me, the fact that you had the bib draw. You could watch Estelle drop, so you dropped in last. You knew that she'd had that small fall, so you could capitalise on that. A conservative run probably would have taken you first or second place and the title, but you refused to compromise.
I guess that's exactly me. I'm a little dumb sometimes, but at least I go for it, and that's what makes my snowboarding exciting, at least for me. The day I am not having fun and I'm not trying to push myself anymore, then there is no point to be here at all. So if you come to Verbier and you're riding this amazing mountain, you might as well give it all and just, give it your best and give it a shot and see what you can do. And for me, it's so important to keep progressing and keep pushing myself. And see, when you do that, at least you have nothing to regret because you went for it. And hopefully next year I'll be landing it because it's going to be much better conditions. So.
The conditions have been challenging, but you prove what you're capable of in Alaska. You had possibly, for me, one of the best lines we've seen in the women's snowboard category in all of history. There, a really good technical line.
And I don't even have to pay you to say that. This is amazing. No, thank you so much. Yeah, but it's the same thing. Alaska for me was the best run, I found a run that was really steep. There was a typical AK line, and I went for it, and I went fast, and same thing, there was an air at the end. It's exactly what I like doing, and that's why I snowboard. And I'm just so happy about my season because I did that on every competition. That's the way I want to keep it, because at least I'm having fun.
And Flor, thank you so much. Congratulations on a rememberable day.
On the loss. Thank you very much.
Exactly, that's what I meant. We're going to go back over to Dave and Marty now. I think we're ready to recommence the men's snowboarding.
Thank you very much, Ed. Congratulations to Anne Fleur for another historic run down the face of the Petit Bec. Unfortunately, it was not a winning run for Anne Fleur today, but as she said, she will be back next year. We were hoping to continue on with the men's snowboard competition, but as you can see, Florian Orley in his victory lap gorilla suit there. He's got his backpack off, meaning that we are definitely still on hold. And that is official, as you can see from the graphic on the screen. So Florian Orley will be our next snowboarder in. As you can see, yes, he is, you're not hallucinating, he is wearing a gorilla suit, as he has worn at every event so far on tour this year, to celebrate his final go-round on the Swatch Freeride World Tour. And he is a true champion. We're going to 16 years, and here's a look at his second place run from the Verbier Xtreme in 2002. Once again, he's been riding this event for 16 years.
This is, as usual, from the very beginning, Flo was known for the most technical riding, the riding with the most consequence. Look at that, what he's looking at underneath him. And it's littered with rocks, so easy to get hooked on. You have to know your line perfectly. Every small little turn is calculated, and that's what he does. If you see him preparing for a line, it's impressive how detailed he gets into these line preparations.
Yes, indeed.
And
well,
it's the last time that it hit so, and you have to know he is pretty melancholic about the situation being the last time on this almighty back there was with a bib on.
There we go. The 40-year-old vet, once again out of Innsbruck, Austria, dropping in for his 16th and final run down the face of the legendary Bec des Roses.
And as usual, keeps my breath away when he starts riding, because it always is with big consequences. And very similar line to what we've just seen on screen 16 years ago. That's exactly the zone he was in before. There is a little bit more snow than it used to be then, and this is really breathtaking right now. But he knows what he's doing. Great execution. This zone is as steep as it gets on the Bec des Roses. Great riding. The visibility is not great at all. He still keeps the momentum up. What a line choice of the 40-year-old. And we were talking about his line yesterday, and gives me goosebumps seeing him riding right now, because it is going to the Gilles Voriol cliff. One of the most prestigious cliffs on this mountain. It's going big.
And a little backseat on the
landing,
backseat,
but not
okay.
too bad. Oh, that's great.
Fantastic. Legendary run from a legendary snowboarder.
Wow, what a line so far. Can he add some more spice at the bottom, which would be needed to challenge the podium or the very top run? And he does with a double. Wow, what a complete run.
I didn't think we would see anybody hit the Gilles Voriol or the Hollywood Cliff this year. And Florian Orley, though, said, you know what, I'm going to have a go at it. This is my last time down, and if there is one thing that you have to do on the face of the Bec, it is hit the Gilles Voriol Cliff, named in memory of Swiss snowboarder Gilles Voriol, and that was fantastic. A big layback slide into the finish area.
The banana.
All right, Flo.
Shout out to his kids, Keanu and Momo.
Way to go,
and
you
Nina.
big gorilla. Fantastic.
Oh, what a
run
line.
from
Look at that.
Flora
That's
Orley.
what I was talking about.
Look at that. 73
That is
kilometers an hour, his maximum speed.
And up there, the first third or the first half of his
As
whole
you were
run.
saying, 60 degrees.
60 degrees. It's as steep as it gets. Like, there is probably not even possible to ride any steeper.
Not without a pickaxe, anyways.
Yes.
Well, the judges appreciating what they saw as well.
And here's that.
That was the only mistake in the whole thing.
But I hope that the judges are not deducting a lot on that one.
I don't think they'll
Flat
be too
light.
harsh on him.
Like, to be honest with you, that is for me the top run of so far. Like, line choice wise, but he's just not
I was
giving
going to
it
say
them.
better than Xavier, but not quite. Because Luc Key stayed on his feet from top to bottom. There was that mistake in there, even if it was on the Hollywood Cliff.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Just under.
Well, that's a shame. He's still, well, we would have loved to win on his last event.
Come on, it would have been amazing.
Exactly, but he potentially will equal his second place finish. Jonathan Penfield, the rookie
Next rider,
out of California from Kirkwood, but pretty much all the American snowboarders born, raised, living in or around Truckee, California. Jonathan is one of those boys. Sammy Lukey's riding partner. He's had a very solid first year on tour, currently ranked second in the world. Can't take the top spot, but can definitely hang on to a podium finish in his rookie year.
Around, just like Sammy, choosing the line around the corner. Going for that big air as well. Huge, just not sticking the landing as clean as Sammy did. Really comes down to execution nowadays. Not only hucking off cliffs, but he has the ability to do so, so it was a little unlucky. Probably heading into a new zone. He is riding the back for the very first time, but he looks so confident getting into those zones, so I'm very surprised about his great performance yet.
Oh, calm, cool, and collected has been his leitmotif for his rookie year on the Swatch Freeride World Tour.
Wow, look at this technical section right there with a lot of slough moving. And you see the exposed areas underneath with a lot of consequences.
Is he going
But that's his riding style, so smooth and confident, as if he would be riding in the park, you know?
That's exactly it.
The body language is impressive.
Well, he and Sammy are definitely have two of the smoothest styles on tour, so not a surprise at all, since they do spend a good part of the year riding together and have spent a good part of their careers riding together. Quite fitting as well that they are currently first and second on the rankings this year for 2016, and have chosen similar lines at many of the events so far this year on tour. So Jonathan Penfield not quite as successful, but which is quite logical, being as he doesn't have quite as much experience at the highest level of elite freeride competition, but he's gaining experience rapidly, Martin.
Oh yeah, and of course the main goal for the season, especially for a rookie, of course, is to stay on tour, because you want to stay on and compete for long, and then just one season. And this is not easy to do as it's itself already. You have 3 goes, 3 events, 1 that you can cut out, two good results, and you're battling it for the next season. But definitely he will be back for another title race next season, because the way he rides, the consistency he has, and even the tricks he has in the bag. Very impressive.
Yeah, he
full
has
package.
the full package. That's exactly it. And not afraid to go into the steeps either. 58 degrees.
That was the
vertical there.
the lower part that you can see, we call it the rock garden, and really very confident riding. It seems like not so hard to do because of his body language, but it actually was. And if he would have sticked that landing cleaner, then he would have been really on the top of the podium.
For the podium, no doubt.
Here we have, and as you see, a lot of slough moving there, and you don't want to get disturbed. Here you see great slough management. He still doesn't get any confused of moving snow underneath him.
I'm surprised that we didn't get a little bit higher into the greens on the technique there, but
yep.
Well, 46.66 points, so the judges definitely penalizing him for the fall on the big cliff. He had the guts to go for it, but didn't have the legs to land that one. So Jonathan Penfield would have liked to have done a bit better than that here, but once again, his first time ever down the face of the Bec des Roses, and I'm sure he will have many more opportunities to ride this mountain in the future. Once again, we have gone back on hold here in the men's snowboard competition here in Verbier, Switzerland. Flat light moving in once the conditions and the visibility improve. It will be Emilien Badu, our 2014 men's snowboard champion, and Verbier, Switzerland local, who will be next onto the face of the Bec des Roses. Finished up second here last year and would love to win this thing in 2016. As we have a look there, that was one of the favorites in the men's ski category. Jeremy Heights will be dropping in a little bit later on. So 2 men yet to come in the men's snowboard competition, and then we'll be moving into the men's skiing contest to wrap things up, finish things off for the day. And we are going to pass the mic over to Ed Lee at the studio. What you got for us, Ed?
Well, I thought I'd take you through, thanks Dave Martin, I thought I'd take you through the journey up to this point, because while this is the finale, we thought we'd take a look back at the season before this and show you exactly how we got to this point, because each of these mountains has a different personality. It's made up of 5 stops. Each one offers different terrain and conditions to test competitors. This year, Val Nor-Alcalis in Andorra was the first stop, and a late start to the season challenged athletes to read snow conditions and deliver technical lines on a face littered with rocks. The second stop in the world's capital of steep skiing, Chamonix, was blessed with perfect conditions. That allowed the world's best to unleash their aerial arsenals on some of the biggest drops we've seen this season. At the third stop in Fieberbrunn, we saw the first cut in the field. The Wildsee Loader face demands creativity from the skiers and snowboarders who want to travel to Alaska for the 4th stop. Haynes once again delivered the epic conditions it's famous for, and the venue face is so steep and so open, it allowed the riders real freedom to express themselves with power and speed to burn. And now the Tour arrives back here at its spiritual home in Verbier. There is the Bec de Ros, that imposing face. We've already seen Flo Orley stretching the boundaries of just how steep you can go. 58 degrees up at the top there. Now though, we're going to chuck it back to Dave and Martin and see if we're ready for the penultimate rider in the men's snowboarding.
Well, thank you very much, Ed. And as for the penultimate rider in the men's snowboarding, he is still waiting up there in the wind and with a few snowflakes falling, it looks like now. And while we wait, we are going to take a look at some of the highlights from the women's snowboard competition that went down earlier this morning. There we go. In the women's snowboarding, it was all about the battle between Anne-Fleur Marxer and Estelle Ballet for the top spot. As we take a look at some of the fantastic footage from the last event in Haines, Alaska, where Anne-Fleur took out the win. Marion Herty and Elodie Mouton rounding out the field. So Elodie Mouton, the 2-time champion here in Verbier. Anne-Fleur won the event once, and Estelle Ballet had a good go. And the second run down the face, in spite of that small technical fault there. She managed to throw in quite a few good cliffs. And as we can see here on the replay, she was, although she had one small error, she was very solid in the air. Anne-Fleur Marxer, it was all hers to win or lose. She had to win the event to win her second world title. She started well with a nice jump up top, then went for one of the biggest ever rotations we've seen from the women of frontside 360 on the face of the Petit Bec. Unfortunately, although she landed on 2 feet, the snow was just a tiny bit too deep, caught an edge, went head over heels. And that was it for Anne-Fleur Marxer's dream of winning this prestigious competition for a second time and taking her second world title. So finishing up 3rd place overall. Anne-Fleur Marxer, the 2 champions, and the young tour rookie out of France, giving big hugs all around. And now we are back to the top of the Bec des Roses for the last 2 runs, if the weather wants to cooperate, of the men's snowboard competition. That is Emilien Badou, Verbier, Switzerland local, and 2014 men's snowboard champion, coming off a 2nd place finish here in Verbier last year. The only thing left for him to do is win it. But he has,
what a moment, and his body language says he's off
he wants
to a
it.
start.
Yeah.
Yes. The local from Verbier. He has been riding that mountain for a few times already. Great snow conditions, but very poor light conditions, so very challenging for the riders to choose their lines, their number 1 line. And he's going into the steeps from the very top, riding very fluid, following Xavier Delarue's line there. Butt check on the landing, pretty exposed, staying on that shoulder, in between the col de chaux and the dog leg, and now entering into that bottom section of the dog leg with a little air.
Little backside air into that couloir. Not often we see aerial entries into the couloir. But that backseat landing up top is definitely going to penalize Emilien. He's going to have to go do something really special down the bottom if he has any chance to take the win here today.
And he's going into the steeps. That is a region where a fall has big consequences. But as we have a great snow year this time, that those lines are actually possible. Some years it's not even possible, and he's going for that big double with a lot of speed.
Rides out
Hopefully
of it
shutting
well.
it down well. You see the cliffs approaching fast.
And looks to be setting up another nice drop here.
Oh yeah, finishing up pretty
Okay.
well. Great
done.
line choice at the bottom especially.
So, what do you think, Martin? Third?
Yeah, definitely. We have
better than Xavier, but not quite as good as Florian Orly.
No, like definitely Flo's line is out there.
Yeah,
like,
thank
this
you.
very, very exposed, gnarly line with that great cliff. He just had that bubble in the landing, unfortunately. Otherwise, it would have been a winning line. And those two lines are out there, and I would be very surprised if Emilien can challenge that with his run.
So would I, but it's going to come down. Will he be third or will he be fourth? So the two Verbier locals, Xavier Delerue and Emilien Badou,
Yeah, it's done!
battling it out for
He is happy to be down.
spot on the podium. Yes, indeed. Throwing a big shaka there. So super stoked. Great to see. Just one backseat landing.
Here we have that,
Up
what
the
you just
top.
talked about. A little bit too much backseat. The landing firmer as he would have thought. The board skipped out underneath him. And everything else, especially this section with a lot of speed
great
coming out
double.
of there. This double and then finishing off with a great air at the bottom. Lucas left. Here we have some phantom camera action. This is the bottom air. Stuck, very clean, textbook landing.
Wow, magic.
Okay, so Emilien Badou may move up a bit in the rankings. Actually, he's been granted a wild card here, so this should not actually affect the overall rankings. Of course, I can be proved wrong, but in theory, fourth place, and he should not move up in the overall rankings because he is a wild card. He did not qualify for the event directly, but was granted a wild card by the tour, by the Swatch Freeride World Tour, to participate. Our current standings with one rider left to come: Lupke, Orly, Delerue, Badou, Armand, Penfield. So it's been a fantastic event up to this point. 2 points separating first from second. And then the two Verbier locals, Delerue and Emilien Badou, with Camille Armand and Jonathan Penfield. With one run left to come, we are back on hold. We're going to throw it back to Ed Lee in the studio.
Thank you, Dave. So far, Sami Lubke is clinging on to his dream of crowning his first World Championship title with a win here in Verbier. This is one of the few medals missing from his cabinet, so he's got one rider left to drop before he can start celebrating. But what you've been watching so far, if you're new to the world of freeriding and you're not sure exactly how these riders are judged, let me take you through it. So, freeriding is completely subjective. There are no gates, it's not timed, it's a fully judged sport. There are 4 judges and 1 head judge whose job it is to maintain consistency. There are 5 categories designed to reward all the different approaches and styles of riding. First category is line and rewards the originality and technicality of the descent. Then you've got fluidity. This tests the athlete's route finding skills. Flowing runs with speed and confidence will score highly. Any hesitations will be marked down. Control looks at the composure of the athletes and of course whether or not they fall. A hand down is a small fall, a back slap or a smear on the side of the body is moderate. A full tumble, or tomahawk as it's known, represents a complete loss of control. Then you've got air and style. Anytime the skis or snowboards leave the snow, they're being judged in that category. And then finally, you've got technique. Traditionally, this is a criteria where you lose points rather than gain them. Side slipping, for example, where others have turned, is a classic area where you can lose points. So hopefully that gives you a slightly better idea of how the judges split up these lines. Still, it's one of the least envied roles here at the Freeride World Tour, because undoubtedly everyone has their different preferences, shall we say, when it comes to style. So you can have two very similar runs, but because of the rider's style and approach to the hill, different people will have a preference. Now, right now, I think we've got the hold coming off, so we're going to chuck it back to Martin Winkler and Dave Mailman for the commentary on the last of the men's snowboard runs.
Thank you very much, Ed. And we are looking up to the top. It does look like Christopher Galvin may drop in soon. Speaking of styles and judging, Martin, you were just whispering into my ear while we were listening to Ed at the same time, that for you, the first and second places in this event could be switched, and due to the fact that, as we talk about classic Alaskan runs here on Verbier, there is a certain way to ride the Beck, and you think that Florian Orley did just that.
Oh, like Florian showed definitely the best Bec de Ross run that you could practically do in light conditions that we have right now.
Yeah, in spite of the small butt check on the Hollywood or the Gilles Vorel
like
cliff.
No disrespect at all to Semi Lipke. That was an amazing run, especially the top cliff, unbelievably well executed. Big balls for that as well. But of course, it is the Bec de Ross. And we have seen lines all over the history of the last 21 years.
And Flo's
this was
a fantastic one, a classic run
with the Gilles Vorel in the middle.
Exactly.
There was a bubble in the middle, but it is subjective judging. So.
And speaking of that man, he is sitting down in the finish area with Haley Edmonds right now. Haley,
he's not so much sitting
as standing,
but he is, however, in a gorilla attire. Now, this is your swan song. It's you're announcing your career retirement here in Verbier today. Does this explain the disguise?
Yeah, my career started right here on this beautiful mountain 16 years ago, almost to the day. So I figured when I'm doing my last season, I got to come up with something special. And I've been riding all season this suit, and I actually like it. It's really comfortable.
You're getting used to it.
Yeah, I'm getting used to it. I might keep on riding in this for the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so just take us through your run, because you're currently in second place, and what an amazing final run here in Verbier for you.
Yeah, I know this mountain really well after so many years, and snowboarders nowadays tend to go to the look left of the mountain where it's not as steep, and I said, no, Flo, you go right through the middle where it's gnarly and steep.
And you go with that flow, right, Flo? So you've been here for 16, you've done this 16 times. Tell us, how have you seen the event and the riding evolve since then?
Well, the evolvement has been amazing. It used to be more like whoever does the biggest stunt is the winner, like you jump a crazy cliff and land on your ass and you win. And nowadays, which is good for the riders and the spectators, it's more about fluid, fast, fun riding. You have to stick your jumps, which unfortunately was a bit my problem today, because on the biggest jump in the Central Couloir, the light was so bad. That's the problem we have today with the flat light. So it's some issues on the landing, and yeah, that's why I'm second, I think, and not first.
Well, as I said, you're currently in second place. Great to see you. Thank you for coming here, and what a great disguise. Thanks a lot, Flo Orley.
One more thing, thank you, Bec de Ross. Thank you, Verbier. It was a great career, 16 years as a snowboard pro. So many dreams coming true, and it's only deserved this to this event and this mountain. Thanks a lot, Bec.
And what a swan song.
Yes, indeed. Congratulations once again to Florian Orley, currently sitting second in the rankings with one man left to come. That is Christopher Galvin out of Truckee, California, US of A, and he is ready to drop in. Please, son, hold with us, stick with us, and let's hopefully get things underway for our last men's snowboarder of the day. There is the score to beat. Sami Lubke's 85 points. Christopher Galvin, as all of the Americans in the field, hailing from Truckee, California, and out of riding in Squaw Valley. So Christopher Galvin currently sitting 6th in the overall tour rankings. There once again are our current standings: Lubke, Orley, Delarue, and Badu. And interesting to note in that interview with Flor Orley that he did say, the reason I am in second position is because I sat down on that landing In the past, the judges would have probably let that slide, and I may have been in the top spot. But as the years have gone on, the judges getting more and more harsh on making sure that the riders stick the landing, and that is probably why I'm in second and not in first. But he did note as well that most of the riders take an easier run down on the looker's left-hand side of the face, and he didn't want to do it that way. He wanted to do it the old-fashioned way, straight down the fall line, from top to bottom, straight down the center. And now the last man down the mountain, Christopher Galvin, his run is underway.
Here we have him, also going around that very critical drop in at the top, but still keeping up the fluidity. He's at the, now dropping into his line. Same entry as we've seen from the Chamonix, Camille Armand, shutting down the speed well. Very stylish, smooth rider out of California, riding with Sami Luki as well a lot of the year. Great friends. We've seen some great disc golf tournaments being thrown down in Haynes, and Sami and him being the top guys in those tournaments. Great fun to be had. He is in the dogleg right now, keeping it a little more quiet as we have seen Sami going through there, but taking the same cliff, which is huge, sticking it clean, shutting down speed a little bit to go over the peppers. Wow, impressive performance there in the lower section of his run.
Yes, indeed. Well, Christopher Galvin, one podium finish so far this year in Fieberbrunn. Potentially looking for a second one. We shall see. Once again, Holt sitting in third currently is Emilien Badou.
Another drop there to spice it up for his score. The top part was a little more conservative, but definitely from entering into the dogleg, he stepped it up, and especially that middle cliff. He probably threw it even further down than we've seen. Was it Xavier and Sami doing the same cliff? Great execution there.
Christopher Galvin in his first ever trip down the Bec des Roses. He is in his second year on tour, but he did not qualify for the grand finale here in Verbier in 2015. He did make it through to Alaska, but did not have the result needed to make it here to Verbier. So his first time ever down the face of the Bec des Roses, and quite a performance, I must say, for a Bec des Roses virgin.
Oh yeah, like definitely he was nervous, and it is a kind of a classic premier line, I would say, going on that Col de la Chaux and then entering back into the dogleg. It's kind of getting the feel for what the bag can hold up for you. Some more technical lines are more to be had to the skiers left of the mountain, but still very impressive, especially that's the very top drop, if I'm right. And here comes the big kind of exit of the dogleg, and executed
and landed
really
it well.
Yeah. Here the perspective of the Cineflex camera, sometimes it gets stuff a little flatter, but here you see the size of that cliff. It's the same cliff seen from a different perspective. Here the phantom camera captures the action.
And did well to stay on his feet there.
Oh yeah. He nearly skipped out underneath him, but he kept his stuff together.
So Christopher Galvin, what will his score be?
What's up, everybody?
This is the end of the men's snowboard competition, and Mr. Galvin slips into fourth place, 71.66, in front of Emilien Badou and just behind Xavier Delerue. So
we have a final score.
Yes, indeed. Sami Luki, 85 points, and the top spot.
He's taking the full package, Mr. Sami Luki.
Yes, indeed. The world title and the event championship here at the Swatch Freeride World Tour Xtreme Verbier 2016. Congratulations to California's Sami Luki. There is the result list in men's snowboarding. Luki, Orly, Delerue, that is one heck of a podium followed by Galvin, Badu, Armand, and Penfield. So congratulations to all of our men's snowboarders. You guys did a great job. And a very exciting day on the Bec des Roses for the men's snowboarders indeed. And in our overall ranking, Florian Orley, what a way to finish. Second time, second in the world behind Sami Lubke, with Jonathan Penfield in third position in his rookie year. Chris Galvin moves into fourth, with Armand Backstrom and Sasha Ham rounding out our field of riders requalified for 2017. These are the unlucky men who will have to battle back through the Freeride World Qualifying Series if they want to join the Elite Freeride World Tour competition again in the future. And we're going to pass it back down to Haley Edmonds with our new tour and event champion, Sami Lubke.
Absolutely, Sami. You've done the double here today. What is more important to you, the Freeride World title or this title here?
I think the overall title for sure, just because it's 4 seasons, finally getting up there on top is rad. But obviously winning in Verbier it's a compliment. You know, the mountain's gnarly, and to come out on top is, I wasn't planning on it, but I'm happy.
So just tell me about your strategy, how you approached this event today.
I was kind of nervous just because it was looking a little thin when we got here, and I like riding mountains covered in more snow than rock, so that was a little mind game. But I don't know. I had some lines picked out, and I wasn't really sure at the top. And once I started my run, I just figured to go for it because, I'm on the top of the championship, so I might as well go big or go home, right? Last chance to take home a little prize, and worked out well.
You were one of the top riders, the second rider to drop. Sometimes that's kind of a disadvantage, but knowing the conditions were changed so much, it was actually an advantage to you because there were some riders who struggled with the visibility. How important would you say the bib draw was today for you?
I don't know. I've had lots of first and second and third bib draw picks where I'm dropping, right away. Pretty much this whole season's been like the top 3 bibs is usually where I'm at, so I feel pretty comfortable with it. I guess today it worked out with the light. The light was a little better. I think it was maybe smoother too down the runs. The snow wasn't like powder, so it was kind of hard to land a cliff and slow down. It was tough. It was all around. You couldn't see. The visibility inside the guts was really low, so it was a game, and gambled and paid off.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Sami. You're the winner, the 2016 Freeride World Tour champion and the champion here at Verbier. Congratulations.
Well, congratulations indeed to Sami Lubke with the double, winning the world title actually in Haines, Alaska, and his first ever Xtreme Verbier title here today on the face of the Bec des Roses. It's been quite an exciting day up until this point, Martin Winkler, with one category left yet to come, the men's skiers.
Yes, and as usual, they are not holding back at all within the categories. Let's hope for the best that the weather holds up as far as light is concerned. Of course, conditions already are very, very challenging for all categories. And unluckily, it is one of the most extreme mountains where visibility is crucial, and really is a bummer for the riders not to have the best conditions possible here on the Bec. Although snow conditions are still very good. We received a great storm just a couple of days ago, which put a nice cover on the Bec des Roses, on the petite and the big one. And luckily the heavy wind that we experienced not only today but also the previous days came from the, let's say, right direction. The right direction to not destroy the mountain.
Yes, indeed. And a few rays of sunlight poking through. We're going to throw it over to Ed Lee to have a look at what we can expect out of the men's ski category.
Well, before we do that, let's have a quick look. There's Estelle Ballet down there. The Ballet family celebrating. We've got world champions coming out of every angle of us at the moment. The Ballet family opening their champagne at the moment. There you go, a very well-deserved defence of her title this morning. Next to me is Bertie Dernevo. Bertie, the women's snowboarding an interesting comp this morning. Anne-Fleur Marxer could have ridden conservatively and potentially taken the title, but she opted to go absolutely foot to the floor.
Yes, absolutely, and she really went for the title. She wanted to be world champion with an incredible run. She really took risk, tried that 360, it didn't pay. If she would have stuck it, she could have been world champion, as Estelle had a small issue at the top, but Estelle had a really strong finish, so Anne-Fleur could have not just cruised down the face, she had to have a solid run to beat Estelle.
Well, Estelle Ballet is our women's snowboard champ. She's joined by Sami Lubke, the overall winner and the Verbier winner for the snowboard men, and then Eva Volkner in the ski women.